recorded if you're hearing this bit. And it's so great to have you here. We're going to be exploring the Meta Horizon Worlds desktop editor and some of the MHCP, that's Meta Horizon Creator Program tools, and building a fun world. So I'm super excited to get to show you this today. Please do use the chat. Let me know if there's anything wrong. Make sure you let me know if you can hear me right now. So please do use the chat. But so far, everything looks good on my end. I did a couple of little audio tests before, so I think we're set. I brought a few little snacks, some almonds, some peppermint tea, and just a little pickup later, hot cocoa, perfect for the snow. It's not snowing yet, but when it is, you know it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and dive right on in. So if you haven't heard the news yesterday, I posted a video. You can now join the Meta Horizon Creator Program. It's you have to apply. You have to be 18 plus. The application, we don't know how long it takes. I just heard somebody got in yesterday that applied yesterday, and we've got some people who've been waiting 4 weeks. So I don't know what that timing looks like. Maybe it depends on your background. I don't know. But hopefully we'll get more clarity on that in the future. And if you're watching this in the future, not presently, it's very likely that that backlog, because there's been a lot of people jumping in right now, might be caught up, and so the process is a lot smoother in the future. So looking forward to that. Now, in the meantime, if you haven't already joined, the link is in the last video. It's in the description. Yeah, it's in the description. If you look in the description of this video, there it says join. Yeah, I remember I did that. Nice. Good job, past me. Appreciate you. And so next up, we're going to dive into the desktop editor. So I'm going to switch to my screen capture. So here you can see my desktop, and you're going to need to install the MetaQuest Link app. This is formerly the Oculus Link app, which was formerly the Rift app. Anyway, it's had a few different names over the years, but make sure to install the MetaQuest Link app. And then once you get that opened up, we can go into Library. You're going to want to make sure to install Meta Horizon Worlds. If your computer says it's not VR capable, that doesn't mean you can't use the desktop editor. It just means you need to click the skip button so you don't set up your headset, and then make sure you're logged in with your MHCP account. And once you are, you'll go to the three-dot icon and be able to click Start in desktop mode. All right, so the desktop editor is loading up now. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. All right, let me see. Audio coming in good. Thank you, Jeff. What's up, Garrett? Great to have you. Storm, great. Thank you for coming in. Happy Chills, good to know. And Mike Yates, thanks for being here. Jay Vanity, great to have you. Thank you all so much for coming out to the stream today. And so here we are in the desktop editor creation home, and we're going to start by creating a new world. So we'll click the new world button. We can give it a name, and I wanted to build a lava game inspired by a game that Mark Julian and I built a few years ago. And so this is like Lava Rising. We called it Last to Burn. Back then, Last to Burn, and I love the idea of it incorporating lava in the name. So like Last to Burn is such a great name. Not to just steal it, but we haven't touched that game in 3.5 years, so I think Mark Julian would probably be okay. I'm not sure if he's here with us today, but let me know, Mark Julian, if you're okay. I was thinking maybe even calling it Reprise, but I think shorter names are sweeter. Last to Burn. We'll think about lava and see if there's a way to incorporate that as the name. You're not locked in once you create the name, but I always find a good name is important. So we're going to start with a blank world. You do have options for tutorial worlds. You will only see these tutorials if you are in the MHCP program. You'll find these in VR as well, but here you've got a bunch of examples on tooling, and that is super duper cool. And there's some basic rooftop racers and the Chop and Pop they just launched, so that you can use as templates for your world. We're going to, of course, use the blank world. And then you get to select if it's a primitive world or a custom model import. I do everything in custom model import these days, so that's your choice, but I will be showing you custom model import. Primitives are totally still okay, and I don't, if your skill is building in Horizons VR and you don't want to go learn Blender or have to import 3D models, then use primitives. You can also mix TypeScript and code blocks. I might have mentioned that yesterday in the little short video, but yeah, so that's cool. Welcome everyone! Lava to Burn. Gotta lava. Gotta lava. That's fun. You guys have got some great ideas. Gotta lava. That one's gonna crack me up all day, Garrett. That one's fun. So this video series, this first episode, to me is reflecting on the very first, you guys remember Building 101 way back in the day. That's kind of my goal here, is to build another 101 type video. I might come back with a 102 type video where we build on this world. My goal for today's recording is to record basically until I poop out. So I brought those almonds because I think that's going to give me the most fuel, but I've also got hot chocolate as emergency. I have my tea, which is my normal go-to. And so we're going to go for as long as we can, which is probably 2 to 4 hours. Somewhere in there, my brain's going to fatigue and we're just going to have to call it. And I do recommend, if you're creating and you start getting to that point, you know, find time to go like do other things, do your hobbies, relax, whatever it is that you do. And then like sleep. Sleep is also important. Try not to just work through the night because you'll find the answer in the morning, most likely. Okie doke. So we've selected Start a Blank World. We're going to rename this Last to Burn. We'll come back to... I mean, come on. We got to go with the God of Lava. Got a lot of lava. Got a lot of lava. Dude! No apple cider. I do love a good apple cider. That is so, so good. I don't know if you're saying that it's sad that I don't have it. Okay, we do have to go with the user suggested Garrett Sky asking for Got a Lava. Got a lot of lava. Got a lot of lava. Got a lot of lava. Okay, I will say with names, you usually want to make them as like kid-friendly to spell as possible, and this one is not the best, but I kind of love it. It could be got dash lot dash lava. I feel like that one's even harder. I think the simpler here is good. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Create. So, welcome. My hobbies are Blender. Nice. That's great. I love it. Yeah, curious question, guys. How many of you are, like, I see a lot of people I already know who are in the MHCP. I know Grizzly's looking to get in, hopefully soon, fingers crossed. Hey, Hess! I didn't see you there. Great to have you, man. Yeah, so I see a lot of people who are already in the MHCP. So how about people who are not in the MHCP? Sound out in the comments, like drop an emoji, that like a sad emoji. Drop a sad emoji if you're not in the MHCP yet, and then go apply. Links in the description. I'm talking with my hands as if you can see me. I forgot I didn't put my camera on the screen. All right, so at the bottom we've got access to assets. So this is your asset library. Then we got the console. I'm gonna leave the console as my default open here. You can also just close that if you don't like it open. But this is the desktop editor. This is what it looks like. If I use my mouse wheel, I can zoom in and out using the scroll wheel. If you right-click with your right mouse button and then use WASD, you can fly around. By holding Shift, you go double fast. And if you use your scroll wheel while flying around, it changes your camera speed, so you can go even faster, which is pretty cool. So that's how you move around. You can also use the Q and E keys right next to W to go up and down. So lots of ways to move around. It does take a while to get used to this. Having used this desktop editor for nearly a year, I'm getting pretty good, but it isn't something that like comes immediate. It does take some time. Okay. Oh no, there's the Grizzly and the Steve. Oh, well, we'll hope you guys get in soon. And thanks for joining us in this little sneak peek of what you're going to get access to when you do get in. And let's get you in. So, all right, next up, the first thought here. I've got a whole list. Here, I got to get practice at the going back and forth. My list, it's literally 2 sticky notes with gaff tape on the back because there were so many things I wanted to cover in today's class. So we got to the desktop editor. Oh, I was supposed to mention if you're on a Mac. So if you're on a Mac, you're going to go to the normal Worlds website. So it's horizon.meta.com. And when you go there in the top right on your profile icon, if you drop down, it says Creator Tools. And there in Creator Tools, there's a button next to each world that says Scripts, once you're in the MHCP, that is. And that's where you'll be able to edit your TypeScript. I can show that later if there's interest. Pro Panda says, so this isn't out for everyone yet. I don't know if it'll ever be out for everyone. I mean, like, for at least the time being, it's a very apply. You have to apply for this, but do apply. I met somebody just yesterday, might be here in the chat, who got in within a couple hours, which is crazy because we've got Grizzly here, who we know we applied 4 weeks ago and still isn't in. So your mileage may vary on how quickly you get in. Welcome, Cray! Thanks for joining! Glad to have you. All right, so now what we're going to do is switch back on over. Here we are. And we talked about the Mac environments. If you guys want me to talk more on that later, pester me near the end and we can check that out. We've made the new world. We showed the options there. Good job. And now we're going to design. I love art. I think starting with art is kind of like something you'll notice in a lot of Vidyuu tutorials. It's just something I love to do. And so one thing I wanted to look into that I didn't do before this tutorial was how to do, and somebody in the audience probably knows how to do this, so we're going to switch over to Should I use ChatGPT? Maybe. We'll try ChatGPT. How to make a texture, like a plane in Blender that has 100x of a tiling texture across it. Let's see if it understands what I want it to do. Okay, to make a plane in Blender, I usually use Blender for simple things. I think this is just beyond simple, but create a plane, we know how to do that. So if you haven't used Blender yet, you need to like know some basics. You don't need to know Blender like super hardcore. I've been doing my best to like not learn it too much and just learn the bare minimum. And so, but you do need to know a little bit. So we come into Blender and then we delete everything because we are that person. And then once we're done deleting that, we can click Add Mesh Plane. And this will be the basis for bringing in like an image. And in this case, we want to bring in the lava. So that's our goal, is to make some lava here. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. So we brought in a mesh plane, done. And then it says scale the plane to your desired size. We don't care about the size, that's fine. Apply the texture. Go to the shading workspace, F3, or on the shading tab, create a new material. We don't care too much about this, but let's go get, we'll just quickly follow along. We're gonna grab a tiling lava texture, okay? And let's see, what do we got? Draw a tiling lava texture. Two seamless lava textures. Open game art. This sounds free to use. Copyright attribution, notice, credit, Luminous Dragon Games. This is not mandatory. Oh, thank you for making it not mandatory. I appreciate that. It's really, it's not terribly hard to do, but it's not super easy. Okay, so we like this one or this one. Ooh, I think this one's the best for making it not look super duper obvious that it's the same thing over and over again. And we go ahead and download that PNG. Okay, I'm gonna put that into my downloads folder, and I am a cursed person, so I just create folders with the dates and then download it into that folder and then never organize it beyond that. I know, I'm horrible, I'm so sorry. Okay, so we're gonna download lava number 4 and click save. Okay, so we've got our PNG, and now you don't have to attach the PNG in Blender for it to come into Horizon, but it's nice for like previewing it. So we're gonna click new material. We're gonna name this material lava. And then under our material, I'm going to scale this out just a little bit. We're going to change from base color to image texture. And then under image texture, we can go ahead and click new. And then, no, open. There we go. And we're going to go to our downloads again, go to today's date. Where's November 23rd? There it is. And lava number 4, open image. Okay, so we got lava number 4. We can then hit the preview button here to see that. And so the problem I have with this is that it's only doing it once. And so I want it to tile at least 10 times across. So, like it has some options here for this, but I don't believe that affects the final. What Horizon's gonna care about is your UV mapping, I think. So let's see what our little friend ChatGPT had to say. And then somebody in the chat probably already has the answer. So what we got? We got shading workspace, F3, new material, we did that, added the image texture, did that, set the texture to the tile, and then connect its UV output to the vector input of a mapping node. Peculiar. I've never done anything node related in Blender. Set tiling to 100x, and the mapping node change the scale values to x and y to 100. This will tile the texture 100 times across the plane. That doesn't sound too hard. I've never done this, but we're gonna like try to figure it out on the fly. View in material preview. Switch to material preview mode to see the result. Let me see what the chat says. Okie dokie. Yes, please do apply. Thanks, Cray. Knowledge is King says great net framework error. Okay. I don't know what that means. Let Grizzly in, I agree. Maggie Chan, welcome. Subdivided. Jay Vanity says subdivided. Talk me through it, Jay Vanity. You are my Blender expert today. I need you. Because this does seem way more complex and might not work in Horizon. There's a lot of things that would work in Blender that might not work in Horizon. So I trust you more than I trust ChatGPT every day of the week. Every day of the week. Seriously, ChatGPT will send you the wrong direction over and over and over again. So UV maps, I don't know what to do about this. I want different sections of this plane subdivided. Right click. Okay, wait. I have an idea. I'm hoping for a very fond message from J Vanity that explains what she means, because I don't understand. But I'm just gonna say, how can I do this with subdivision? Question mark. And see, this is the part that I think is hard with ChatGPT, is if you don't know the topic deep enough, you don't know the right questions to ask it. Okay, so we created the plane. We subdivide the plane. In edit mode with tab, right click and choose subdivide. Okay, so we go back into Blender. If we go into edit mode, I'm going to switch back to layout, and then you can change modes by going up here and clicking edit mode, but you can also click tab on your keyboard to quickly change between the two. And we're getting messages. You have to subdivide it multiple times in order for the texture to not appear stretched. Another option is you can go to the UV editor and scale it up the texture. Okay, so we're gonna right click and then find subdivide. There it is. Okay, so we've subdivided it. And Mikey Ace to the rescue. Another option is you can go to the UV editor and scale it up with texture. I wish I knew what that meant. Subdivide. Ooh, we're getting lots of subdivisions. This is looking good. See these little like things? That's looking great. Okay, subdivide. Hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay, let's go to UV editing. And we've got all of these cubes. There's got to be a way to like stretch all of these cubes to the edges. Yes, what Mikey said also. I'm like literally interpreting on the fly, you guys. I should have done a test run of this beforehand. I was like, oh, it should be easy. I should be able to figure it out on the fly. So we subdivided it. Go to the shading workspace, create a new material, image texture, add a texture coordinate node. Why does it keep telling me to do nodes? I don't know what the nodes are. Set tiling to 100x, ensure UV map is correct. UV editing. With the plane selected, make sure the UV map covers the full texture area. If it doesn't, press A to select all UVs, then S to scale and adjust the full grid. That sounds nice. Okay, we'll give that a shot. On your node, G node, hit Control plus Z. I don't know what that means. Click your image texture. Okay. We're gonna click A. I've got all of them selected. Right click and merge, add center, at cursor by distance, split, align auto, align vertically. This is fun. This is not fun, Cray. This is one of the areas I don't understand. Follow active codes, PIDs, snap, selected pixel, selected to cursor. There's something good here, but this is what everyone feels when they get started building on Blender and in TypeScript. So I'm feeling like I'm in day one again. It's annoying. I don't love it. Go to UV editor mode, workplace, UV, constrain image to bounds. I feel like if I just like no, that's not gonna work. There's gotta be a way to do this. I feel like there's got to be one super simple button to click, and I just can't find it. Let me try to understand. Your G node, hit Control T. What is a G node? Is this a G node? And then Control T? That did nothing. Click the image. I'm on the image. Thanks, Jay. Press Shift F10 twice to get to UV editor mode. Am I not in UV editor mode? Shift F10 twice. Sure seems like I am. Nodes. I don't see nodes, and I don't know what nodes are. I might have to give up on this, y'all. I have an idea of how I could approach this differently. Because I know I can just like select these and move them around, but like that's surely not the right approach. Like I could just drag that, but there's no way that's the right approach. I might have to give up and do this maybe a different way. I have a different way that could totally work. I love this subdivide thing. This seems like I'm so close to making this easy. You are in the mode now. Select all and scale. Okay, Control A to select all, right? Control A, or A to select all, and then click the scale tool. Got it. Ooh, 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 that's gross. There's something gross about this, but maybe satisfying. Okay, and then press A to select all, and then press S to scale. Oh, Control Z, press S to scale. Whoa, okay. That's still not what I'm looking for, I don't think. It's so cool, though. We're learning all sorts of new tools right now. So then how do I get them all to be... Because we're so close. You know we're so close. I want to talk so bad right now. Thanks, Cray. Okay, Cray, I'm gonna just pull you up on my other computer, and you're gonna walk me through this. Okay, Cray, phone call. Make sure to mute the live stream. Okay. Save the day, Cray. Tell me what to do. I'm so like ah. Okay, continuing in the chat, we got press A to select all, then press S to scale, and then on the top where you change to UV editor, click shader editor. So what I'm trying to do, Hood, is I'm trying to make all of these UVs have the exact same coordinates. That's what I'm trying to do. Control Z. Hey, Cray.
You need to pull Mikey Ace, okay?
You told me to talk. You wanted to talk, so here you are. Tell me what to do.
Like you're there. You're so there.
I know, but what am I missing? It's like 3 steps.
There's so many things ringing on my head right now because it's so crazy. Okay, so you do need to scale it. What you want to do is you want to scale it the opposite direction, though.
What? What?
Where am I?
Okay. So I click. I'm on the scale tool, right? I can resize them to all shrink. I can resize them all to shrink, but that doesn't seem to make sense. Why would I?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, but it's delayed because if you're watching, don't listen to the live stream. Don't listen to the live stream yet.
Hold on, I'm hearing double audio right now. It's so weird. Okay, so you want to scale it down. Hold on, I have the notes right here. We just did this.
Control Z.
And I actually got a texture to come in amazing.
Yeah.
But you need to call Mikey Ace though. He's probably
okay. I'm ringing Mikey Ace. I will talk to you in the chat, Cray.
Talk to me in the chat. You ring Mikey Ace. I'm still living off notes.
All right, Mikey, you're up next. This is the most embarrassing. I'm literally sweating profusely out of embarrassment. Oh, here, get the real me camera on. Dotta mazakashi desu. Okay. Hey, Mikey. Okay. Make sure to mute the live stream and we'll talk here. What am I doing?
No, this is awesome. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I got you. Okay, on the other side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay,
it's gonna be really delayed for you watching, so you're gonna probably have to tell me as if you can imagine it.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
You see how you have it split down the middle? On your left side, you have the UV editor, so leave that. That's good. Your right side, you have the mesh, but you're not in material mode, so you will not see the changes until you go into material mode.
Got it. That's
fine.
So
the easiest way to do it is go to that other side of the screen and hit Shift Z.
Okay.
Shift Z.
Shift Z.
Will take you into material mode.
Okay. Cool.
That's on the right side of your screen.
Yep, I've done that. So I see it like grayed out now.
Yeah, let me see. It's taking a minute for it to upload for me.
No worries. Okay, so.
Okay, what?
I can.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you're in edit mode right now.
So Shift Z does something else.
Object mode.
Okay, object mode, Shift Z.
So no, object mode would be tab, would be the shortcut for object.
Yep, I'm in object mode.
Okay, now hit Shift Z and that should take you to material texture mode.
Okay. Got it. Now what do I do? So we're in material texture mode.
Like okay, I think I see the problem. You don't have this texture connected to this object yet. That's why it's not showing on it. So what you got to do is go to the right side, all the way to the right side. You'll see this this tab. The menu has all of these icons like they're going down vertically. The one that you want to click is the red one towards the bottom. It's the second from the bottom.
Yeah, I do have it connected, Mikey. So I don't really need to see it. Honestly, I don't care to see it. What I need is to change the UVs, because my understanding here is that the UVs need to all be the same. How do I do that? We can look at it when we're done.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't see the connection. So go, if you want, go all the way up to the top where it says object mode. Scroll all the way to the right. There's more options to the right. And you just make sure you're in what's it called?
I have it now.
In object mode. But on that menu up there, it looks like you just changed edit mode. You want to scroll over. Like
I already did, Mikey. Like, sorry, you're watching it delayed. Try to imagine that I've already done everything you're saying. I've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. Now you're on edit mode.
Yep.
Now you're on the texture one. Now go to the UV editor on the left side of your screen. You want to go into edit mode again.
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
So when you go to edit mode, you'll be able to scale the UV that's on the left side. And like Cray said, if you scale it smaller, the other side should get bigger.
Interesting. Okay, I guess I'm missing something here. So how do I scale? Nothing popping up on my side that allows me to scale. Or do I scale on the right side?
Mode. Let me see.
Scale on the left side, right?
Yeah, the left side. Go to. Yeah, you had it before, which is strange. Oh, you got to select everything. So you got to hit A to select everything.
I've done that, but nothing's happening.
Okay, on the left side, you'll notice that there's these two arrows going, backwards and forward, all the way to the top of the left side.
Oh, there we go. Got it.
Press that.
Okay, so then I click A, and now you're saying scale everything down.
Scale everything, scale it down, and it will invert and make the other side bigger.
Okay. Oh, what the heck is happening? Why is that working? Why does that work? That doesn't seem right. Okay, that works. I don't understand why that works. What? Okay.
So
what?
You got it.
I will allow that. We're going to go with
it kind of looks like pepperoni pizza. But,
I can't believe that works. What? I would never, ever in my life have guessed that would be the solution.
You'll notice there's 10 ways of doing things in Blender. This is just one way.
Okay.
I know Jay Vanity said another way with nodes, which I think is one of the better ways.
Yeah.
But this way works. It's a little bit more simpler because you can kind of eyeball
cool.
it. But you'll learn in Blender there's so many different ways of doing it. So
I assumed that I had to move each of these squares to the 0 index and then the 1, 1 index. Because I've done the coding side of this in Unity, and it's very, very different. But okay, cool.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Mikey.
No problem. If you would have undid it when you scale it, you could have hit S for scale and then hit 100, and it would have did the math for you. It would have scaled 100 times.
Okay.
0.100.
Those are tricks for another day, I'm afraid. But we're gonna have to keep rolling.
No worries. But keep it going.
I'll see you in the chat, Mikey. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
Okay, we are back to the stream. I can't believe that is what the answer was. That makes 0 sense from the programming perspective that I came from, because I've created 3D objects with programming. And it's like, whoa, that is so different than what I would have expected. Okay, now we're going to go back to layout mode. And we can see we've got our tiled texture ready to go. It's a little too tiled, but it shouldn't look too bad once we get things in the center. So we're going to click File, Export FBX. And this is where things get a little unique. So if you've not done this yet, we're going to show you. We're going to go to the November 23rd folder, and we're going to need to name this Lava. And then we're going to click Export FBX. We've now exported the FBX. What Horizon cares about for bringing in the texture is the name of the texture, which we called Lava. So we need to upload this texture with a new name called lava_BR, where B stands for your base color and R stands for your roughness, where your alpha channel represents your roughness. And so we're going to close out of Blender, don't save, and we're going to go and close out of ChatGPT, minimize this, and head back into a folder and go to Downloads. So here in our folder, we'll go into November 23rd. And we need to rename this image. It does need to be a PNG image, so we'll go and click Rename. And then we're going to set this to be lava_BR. And that is going to be pretty basic. We probably want this to be a little special, like it glows. That would be pretty cool. And feel glowy and not feel like it's accepting color on it. So let's create an MEO. Yes, we're going to need to create an MEO. And I like to do that in Blender. And so MEO stands for Metallic Emission Occlusion. And so let me go quickly open Blender because it's the easiest way to make these MEO files. And I'm so sorry for that long detour there, getting lost. I really should have practiced that one ahead of time, but you know how it goes. Okay, so now we're going to go into the texture paint section, and in texture paint we can click new, and we're going to create a texture which we don't really need to name, but I do like to set the scale to 3232 just so it's a small image, although I don't think that really matters. And then the color, we're going to click on RGB, and RGB correlates to MEO, so the red channel is your metallic, which we'll set to 0.7, so it's slightly shiny. Our green channel is our emission, which we're going to set to 100%, so it's 100% glowy or unlit-like. And then occlusion we're going to set to 100% because that means it's not occluded. And then we'll go ahead and press OK, and then image, save as, and then we're going to save that into the same folder, and then call this lava _ MEO, and that's going to allow Horizon to link these two textures to our FBX. So we'll click Save as Image. Now we can close out of Blender again. And back here in Horizon, I'm going to go to our Assets tab, and we're going to start by bringing this model in. But I want to create a new folder. So we're going to create new folder. This folder is going to be called Got a Lot of Lava. Got a Lot of Lava. And then we'll go ahead and create that. And now that we got our Got a Lot of Lava folder, we can add a new 3D model, and then we can choose the files. I don't want to preserve offset pivots. I usually turn that off, although I don't think it actually matters because this one was centered at 00 already. We're going to Downloads, November 23rd, and we're going to select all three of these. So the Lava MEO, the Lava FBX, and the Lava BR. We'll then click Open, and then we're going to go ahead and click Import. All right, that's going to go ahead and import our asset. And I'm going to go read the chat while we wait for that to load in. Oh my gosh, that was the most embarrassing thing of my life, you guys. Oh my goodness. Wireframe hold seat. You guys, I felt so dumb. Thank you, Craig. Yes, and truly this is what it feels like to get started, isn't it? Like, everyone feels this way, so... I'm just pretending like I'm beginner again. I really was a beginner, right? Because I don't do 3D modeling. I'm really focused on programming is my focus. But here we have our lava. Look at that. Beautiful. And there it is, all tiled out. We had it scaled to just like, I think it's 2 meters by default. But we're going to change the scale here to be the size of the grid. And the grid is 64 meters by 64 meters. A 1:1 in Blender is 2:2 in Horizon. So if I type in 32 on the scale, that should make it the size of the, there it is, perfect. And then we'll do 32 again. Oops, try that again. Actually, we don't really need to change the scale of the Y. We just need to change the scale of the Z, except for Blender has different coordinate systems. So we actually need to change the scale of the Y. There it is. Nice. There's our lava. Looks nice and glowy. That's cool. And we're going to go to our position and change that back to 0, 0, 0. Now that's strange. Oh, it's too low. It's Z-ripping is what that's called. So we'll go set that to 0.5, so it's just above the ground. There we go, very nice. And then we need to move our spawn point up for now. So I'm gonna hit the move tool, grab the green arrow and slide that up. Okay, so here we go. We've got our lot of lava. I'm so happy we've got our lot of lava. Available for Mac. Unfortunately, it is not on Mac. There are some ways you can do Mac by using the website for importing 3D models. You then have to go into VR to use them. You can also write TypeScript from Mac on the web editor as well. Okay, so now that we have our lava in and we've got it sized, I'm going to go ahead and go up to our gizmos. That's the shapes drop-down gizmos, and pull out an environment gizmo. And this environment gizmo is going to show up over here. I'm going to move the position of this to 0, 0, 0. I like to put a lot of my junk objects at 0, 0, 0 just because I look at the hierarchy over here now. I no longer, it's not VR anymore. So like you have this hierarchy. And so putting it 0, 0, 0 puts it out of sight. And then environment, we're going to turn off the grid because we're no longer able to see it. We're going to choose a different sky dome. I'm thinking we do something like midnight black is fun. Yeah. Oh, look at the way the lava pops now. Oh, okay. I'm here for that. What about twilight? Not bad, but we get too much light on it. If I had done something like an unlit texture, it would have looked even better. Twilight clouds ain't bad. I used to love twilight clouds, but I think the texture... Ooh, it's not bad with the red. That red could be really good. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. So there we go. We have our nice little plane of lava. And now we need to start putting in some bricks, some cool little bricks. And so I could make these in Blender again, but after that tragedy, we definitely won't. We're going to go to our Shapes tab and bring in a faceted cylinder. This is just a default faceted cylinder. Actually, is this built into Blender? Because if it is, it would be so much better to bring in our own. I'm going to sneeze. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Oh, man. So if we go into Blender, do they have a default faceted cylinder? Because if they do, it would be so much better than the one that comes default. So add mesh. It would be definitely not a meatball. I've had so much trouble with those recently. Mesh, UV sphere. Okay, we definitely. Oh no, they don't call those a torus. I'm not going to learn how to make it. We're not doing Blender again. So we're going to have to use the one inside of Horizon. Now I'll tell you why it's a bad one. The default faceted cylinder, if you look at the scale, is set to 0.01. There's no math that you can run on this. Like if I set this to 1, it gets insanely huge. It's bigger than the grid. I don't know who made this, but please remake it at some point and make it better. Because we used to have these as 1, 1, 1, and they actually worked really nice. But unfortunately, this one does not. So we're going to move this to 0, 3, 0, so right above 0, 0. I'm then going to pull in another gizmo, the trigger gizmo, and the trigger gizmo does work with scales set to the world scale. So if I have it at 1, 1, 1, it actually is a 1 meter cube. And now if we put that at 0, 3, 0, right at the same position, we can then click F on your keyboard to focus. We can then, I believe it's left click, or is it shift left? It doesn't matter. Like there is a way to rotate around it. Let me figure it out. Mikey keeps teaching me and I keep forgetting. There it is. Ooh, I messed it up again. So you click Alt on your keyboard and then left click with your mouse to rotate around it. Okay, so we have the faceted cylinder selected. We're then going to select the scale tool and just eyeball it. Obviously not ideal, but if we can get that to fit right inside that, it'll be roughly 1 meter just inside of it. Curious that the sides didn't fit in correctly. That is curious. So the bottom is not exactly a meter. That is so curious. We definitely want this to be rotated in a different direction. So up here, we know that a faceted cylinder has 6, 2, 4, 6. So that's, you divide 360 by 6 and you get 60. So if we change our rotation degrees to 60 degrees, and then I think we actually need it to be 30 degrees because it's off by half. So then we turn on a rotation. This turns on snapping for snap rotating. And then we can rotate it by 30 degrees. There we go. We'll go back to the scale tool and then resize that to just fit. There we go. Nicely done. Right. Come on. Oops. Try that again. We're almost there. Okay. And you could also come into VR and just like, you know, use nicer tools. VR has much nicer like looking around tools. And then we need to scale the height as well. There we go. All right. So now that that matches the height of 1, 1, 1, the edges are not lined up, are they? Why? Am I off again? Oh, that might be the best it's going to get for today. We're going to have to work with that. Okay, I'm okay with that. Am I okay with that? Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Let's see. I think we're going to let the edges come out. No, there's no way that's a good idea. Right? Definitely not a good idea. Control Shift Z to redo. Ooh, that's still doing Control Z. Maybe there isn't a redo function. Oops. Okay, we'll go back to rotate. Rotate 30 degrees. And then we're going to go back to our scale tool. Scale uniformly until it clips out of it just a bit. There it is. And that's good. And then we'll go down to our height. And just adjust the height. Nice. Okay, looks good. Okie dokie. So now that we got our faceted cylinder to be a 1, 1, 1, if we right click on it, and I believe if we create a parent object, this should do the trick. And so we're going to delete this trigger now that we're done with it. And then this we can now call our lava pillar group. And so now that we have our lava pillar group, or it's not lava, it's a stone pillar group. So we have our stone pillar group. This is a group because the faceted cylinder is inside of it. I am going to right click on this and unlink the instance root. I just don't want to have it linked to the asset that Meta created, just in case. And so now that we have that stone pillar group created, we can see that the scale is now set to 111, so I can actually scale this. Like if I want it to be 5 meters tall, now it's 5 meters tall. And that was the reason we went through all that work, was to get the math to work with us correctly. Checking the chat just to see where you guys are at. I had no idea you can move around an object like that, right? Isn't that cool? In Desktop Editor, Mikey says, select an object and press F to focus. Ah, yes, thank you for posting that for anybody else who needs that. Okie dokie. So now that we have our faceted cylinder, we should do something cool with it. And I think I want to move the lava up a little bit higher. Let's move it up to 2.5. Nice. So you can start imagining this lava pillar. I do want this faceted cylinder to be at the same height. So on the stone pillar group, we're going to set this to 2.5. What this means is, as we change the scale, half of the scale is the height above the lava. So if I change the Y scale to 0.1, it's now 0.05 above the lava. If I change it to 10, it's now 5 meters above the lava. So I can look up and you'll see that's 5 meters above. So we're going to change that back to 1, but we can utilize that with our code. Okay, we're going to switch back to the move tool. And we do want the lava to move up. Also, the lava does need to have a trigger around it so that if you enter the lava, you get teleported back to the spawn zone. So let's go and create a quick trigger there. Gizmos, trigger zone. And then we're going to move that to, we said 0, 2.5, 0. And then we had the scale on this set to 64 meters on the X and 64 meters on the Z. So it fills up the entire grid. And then what we're going to do is move this down. It is 1 meter tall. We'll actually make this 2 meters tall, which means we need to move down by 1 meter, so to 1.5. I love math, can you tell? Because I don't want to see this Z-ripping on the desktop editor, I'm actually going to set it to 1.49. There we go. All right, and then we're going to group the trigger. So we're going to call this, and naming on desktop editor is super important. So I named this lava trigger. We have our lava, which I'm going to call lava plane to define what it is. This is the plane. I'm also going to right click and unlink the instance root so it's not linked to my asset in case I decide to update that in the future and it messes something up. We're now going to select the two at the same time. So holding control on my keyboard, I was able to select both of those. Right clicking, I can now group the selection. That was strange. But now that it's grouped, we can now call this our lava group. And there we are. So we have our lava group. And we'll probably want to move the lava up and down slowly. Ideally, the lava is going to slowly rise over time. And then if you haven't played The Last to Burn, which I don't expect you to, it was made 3.5 years ago. But in that game, the stone pillars move based on these stone pillars move based on Perlin noise. And in this case, we're going to scale them based on Perlin noise. Okay. Very cool stuff. I do think math is awesome too. I'm so glad we have some math nerds in the chat. Sound off with some nerd emojis. I'm literally going to drop one myself because, where's the nerd emoji? Come on, search. N-E-R-D. There it is. Booyah. Dropping my nerd emoji. I am proud. If you're a proud nerd, please do drop a nerd in the nerdy chat. Okay. Oh, that was so good, delicious. Okay. We are now going to create one of our very first scripts, and it's going to be a respawn script, and this is going to be painful to watch because, anyway, you'll see. We're going to go to the scripts dropdown and create a brand new script. This is going to be called lava trigger respawn. So it respawns the player, that's the idea. And then this is going to be attached to an entity. Now, if you come from code blocks, entity is the word that we use for object because in TypeScript, object has a completely different meaning. So we use the word entity in place of that. Okay, so I put this postfix at the end of all of my scripts that need to be attached to something because it lets me know what needs to be attached to an entity. Not all scripts have to be attached to an entity. That's an exciting thing in TypeScript. So we're going to go ahead and click 3 dots, open an external editor. This is going to open up VS Code. Now, if you have not installed VS Code, you will need to do that before booting up Horizon, and you'll also need to restart your computer. So just note that. There's something I should also say there. If you ever get a black screen when installing the desktop editor, you might need to install the C++ redistributables, ask for help in the MHCP Discord. Myself and HomeEd can help you find that if you're having trouble. So feel free to tag @Lakes05 in Discord, in the MHCP Discord if you're having trouble. Okay. Yes, I trust the authors. I'm going to allow the TypeScript version from the file to come through. I'm not going to take a survey. And so here we have our first script. This is so exciting. And so now what we're going to do, oh, we got our painter emojis. Okay, we only have 2 nerds. VS Code stands for Visual Studio Code. It's a IDE, which is an integrated development environment. It's where you write code, and it does a lot of amazing things for you. We got painters in the chat. Feel free to drop your artist emojis if you're an artist. I love it. So we're going to delete line 1. This is, I don't like star importing. I prefer explicit importing, and so I just delete that. And it just makes the code a lot easier to read. It is a personal preference, but I just go then and delete the HZ dot. Then I backspace the T in component, retype the T, clicking enter, I get this imported. And what Visual Studio Code is going to allow us to do is hover over things like component and learn what it is. And so here you can see the core component class. You can extend this class to attach functionality to entities in the world. Now that might not make a lot of sense, but to explain it to you, the class basically creates a template that can be attached to as many things as you want it to. In this case, it's only attached to the 1 trigger, but if we had a script for the faceted cylinder, we could attach it to all of the faceted cylinders, like 100 of them. And so it's a reusable, right? Which is very similar to how code block scripts work as well. So if you're coming from code blocks. Now, the entity name, this name here is the name of the script. So this is just the name. That's all there is to that. We're saying it extends component, which gives it access to all of the features that come built in with Horizon and makes it possible to be attached to an entity in Horizon. We're going to ignore this magic bit here because it saves us a lot of headache, I promise. There used to be way worse stuff. I'm probably not supposed to say that. But anyway, then here at the bottom, we are registering this so that you can attach it to an entity in Horizon. So if I hit Control Save, this line here is actually making it so that down here in Horizon, when we click on the lava group, select the lava trigger, scroll to the bottom, you'll see the script drop down. Selecting the script drop down, you'll now see the script can be attached to that trigger. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so with that script attached, we're going to head back into VS Code, and we need to define the respawn point that we want to spawn the player to. So on the properties panel, we can define properties by using props definition. We'll select between the curly braces, click enter, and type respawn point. And because this is specifically a lobby respawn point, I'm going to rename that as lobby respawn point. And then we're going to type a colon after this, and then curly braces, and then we need to declare the type. This is not normal TypeScript for reference. This is just something you have to memorize when you're creating properties for Horizon. And then we're going to type prop types dot, and then this is an entity. So the respawn point is another type of entity. We would have called those objects in code blocks, and then comma. And so we have our lobby respawn point type entity. Now that will be available on the properties panel. And so if we go back to Horizon, scrolling down here, once it finishes compiling and scroll down, it then appears. Then we can go to our spawn point, and this is the world spawn point. So we'll go ahead and name this world spawn point, which is the one that you spawn into on start. We're going to hit Control D to duplicate, slide this over. I'm going to rename this one as the lobby spawn point so that there's 2 different spawn points. We'll turn off spawn on start, and then we can go back to our lava trigger. Scrolling to the bottom, we can either drag the lobby spawn point pill and drop it here, or we can click on this and you'll see a list, and you can just type in lobby and it returns anything that has the word lobby in it. So we'll select lobby spawn point, and there we go. Okay, so now with that attached, we're going to head back into VS Code, and now we need to respawn the player when they enter the trigger. To do that, we're going to use pre-start. You don't have to use pre-start, you could put this in start, but pre-start is where we connect events, and I recommend you adopt that practice as well. And so we need to connect the trigger enter event from the respawn trigger to our local method. And so we need to create a local method for player enter trigger, and then parentheses, and then when the player enters the trigger, it's received with a player parameter. So inside the parentheses, we type lowercase player, and then capital player allows us to select the player type. We'll then click enter, and then we can go arrow to the right, and then curly braces, and then right here is the code that we're going to run when the player enters the trigger. Now to connect the trigger to this local method player enter trigger, we're now going to type connect code block event. Then we type parentheses. This event is received on self because this script is running on a trigger. So we type this dot entity is self. We can then type code block events dot, and if you type trigger, you'll see all of the trigger related ones, and we want on player enter trigger. There it is. And then after we've defined which event we wanted to connect to, we can then type our local method player enter trigger dot bind parentheses this, and then semicolon at the end, and that's going to give us a connection to this. So every time a player enters that trigger, we receive this. Now when a player enters the trigger, we want to respond them back to the lobby spawn point, which we can do by typing lobby, or excuse me, we need to first reference the properties panel. So we type props dot lobby respawn point dot as, and so we have to tell it what type of gizmo this is. And so if we type as parentheses spawn point gizmo, we now get options that are available to the spawn point gizmo, like teleport player, so dot teleport player. And then parentheses, now all we have to do is pass in the player parameter, and that's going to respawn the player to that spawn point. We'll then hit Control S to save, and like that, we have finished our respawn script. We're gonna go ahead and minimize that, and we've referenced everything over here. So what's gonna happen is we're going to hit play. We're then gonna jump into preview mode. We're gonna fall out of the sky, land in the trigger, and then fall over here out of the sky and just be stuck in a loop. So obviously not ideal, but interesting. I forgot to make the lava non-collidable, so the trigger is actually right below it. So I'm safe. Let's go, we'll fix that. So if we go to lava plane, we can turn off collidability. We'll turn off reflect light and cast shadow, and then we'll hit play again, hit preview mode, and then, we're falling. Can we make it to the, can we make it? Oh, we made it! Oh, and then I fell in. Oh no, back in the loop. So anyway, that could be a fun game in and of itself. If you like to get motion sick. Sometimes you'll get lost under the world like this. If you just click on something like the world spawn point and then click F, that's the easiest way to get back, in my opinion. There we are. Very cool. All right, checking the chat. Wow, this coding in this game, Engine 2. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I've built some pretty fun stuff. I'll have to show you a little bit of the advanced stuff later, Pro Panda. Hope it's okay to call you Pro for short. So what we want to do next is build a lobby. So I'm going to go ahead and select the faceted cylinder. And we have this as a group. I want to show something first before we get into this too deeply. I want to show you how to change the color of it, because there's a lot of misconception that you can't change the color of trimesh, or excuse me, custom model import. We're not supposed to use the word trimesh. Custom model import is what we're supposed to call these objects. So I'll show you how we can do that. But first we need to bring in some scripts that I use in all my worlds. And these scripts are available if you're inside the MHCP Discord. If you can't find them, feel free to tag me at Lakes05. They're usually in my workshop channels and stuff like that. But I'm gonna go into VS Code. And the way that I get to my past files is by right-clicking here. I can click Reveal in File Explorer. That's gonna open up a File Explorer window. And then in File Explorer, if you go to the top, you can go back out to all of your worlds. And then the one that I've been most recently working on was the one with you guys yesterday. That was the November LMN in November 22nd workshop, okay? And I have some default scripts that I use in all my worlds. So we have, let's see, utility array, utility color, utility motion over time, and utility operators. I'm gonna hit Control-C on my keyboard to copy, and then I'm gonna hit the back arrow on my mouse to go back. And then back here in our Got a Lot of Lava scripts, I can hit Control-V to paste these scripts in, and those are gonna get added over here in VS Code, and they're also going to get added over here in Horizon. And this has a script in it that's super exciting. It's compiling right now. It's almost done. There it goes. But let's first set up our motion controller. So to create a manager, and for the motion one, you do need somebody to manage the motion. So we need an empty object. This allows it to get access to onUpdate for those coming from Unity or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and call this the overtime manager. And then on this, I'm going to move it to 0, 0, 0, because that's where I put all my junk, as you might remember from the beginning. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom and attach my utility over time entity script right here. There we go. And now we have an overtime manager. And this will allow us to move things over time and scale things over time and rotate things over time. So pretty cool. And so let's go and make it so that this faceted cylinder has its own script that changes the color of it. So we're going to go to the scripts dropdown and create a brand new script, which is going to be called stone, I keep calling it lava, I mean stone pillar underscore entity. There we go. So we have our stone pillar underscore entity, and then we're going to go edit that in the external editor. So I'm just going to open up VS Code, and if you're in VS Code, you can then just click on the script that you want to edit. I'm going to delete the import line at the beginning, just like before, and the HCN dot, and then backspace the T of component so that we can import component. There we are. And I like to put a double space there, just personal preference. And then this needs to know a couple things. So stone pillar could be a static stone pillar, or it could be a moving stone pillar. So I'm going to say is static is going to be a Boolean property on the properties panel. And so I'm going to type print or curly braces type colon prop types dot. And this prop types dot gives you a list of all of the property types for your properties panel. And we're going to use Boolean. And then we can set a default by doing comma default colon is true. So it defaults to being a static. And so you have to set it to dynamic if it's going to be dynamic. We'll then go ahead and hit Control S to save. And so if we go back to Horizon and we look at the properties panel of our lava group, our stone pillar group, we'll need to first attach the script. So we'll attach the stone pillar script. And then now on the properties panel, there's also this toggle that we can turn off and on for whether it's a static or not a static, which we'll use a little bit later. Okay, so now we're going to go back into our stone pillar entity script, and we want to change the color. This is pretty easy to do, so I'm just going to write one line of code to show you how this works. You're going to call my color utilities file that I just provided, color utils dot tent mesh, then parentheses. The first property you need to provide is the color, so we type new color, and then parentheses, and we can create a color object where you go RGB. And so we're going to say, and it's between 0 and 1. So we're going to tend this to be like probably a bright white. So it looks more like I mean, it already is white. But anyway, we're going to tend it to look like a stone. And then we're going to comma, and we're going to refer to the mesh entity. So we're going to say this. Oh, right. We need a reference to the mesh entity. Because the mesh entity is not the self, it's actually inside of the group, we need a reference on the properties panel for that. So we're going to type mesh entity colon curly braces type colon prop types dot entity, and then comma at the end, and then Control save. And now over here we can type props dot mesh entity dot as parentheses mesh entity. And then after that, we have optional properties for tent strength and brightness. And what we're going to do is type math.random. These numbers have to be between 0 and 1, and math.random returns a number between 0 and 1. And then we can type comma and math.random one more time. And so we're going to randomize what these each look like. And that looks pretty cool. Control save. All right, so the script is set up to do just a real default there. We're going to go ahead and minimize that and come back over here. Now we're going to need to reference the mesh entity. So from here, we can drag the faceted cylinder mesh into the pill slot here. And then now that we've got that referenced, click clear. And now we're going to zoom in a little bit and then hit play world to see it just changed color. Not sure if you saw that, but you can see it every time I hit refresh. It is resetting the color. Ooh, there's a nice dark one. Very nice. And so you can imagine this is going to be filled with a lot of different colors, which is pretty cool. I'm going to check the chat and see what you guys are saying. Put them in a loop. Wow, these... sorry, I missed what that means. I guess everyone now needs to take lessons in coding. Yeah, it's true. But you could still use code blocks. So if you prefer code blocks, you can. And the best part about this, though, is that we can share scripts super duper easy because it's just code. So I can drop you a bunch of files that you'll be able to use in your worlds, like these utility files I'm sharing. So pretty cool. Oh, see you later, Steve. Look forward to you watching this in the future. Okay, we are cruising. So next up, we're going to duplicate this, Control D. We're going to slide this over. I don't know if I'm ready to slide this over yet. I'm going to actually hit delete, and we're going to try something a little different. We're going to turn this one to be not static. So I'm going to turn off the is static. And then I want to turn on snapping. So we're going to go to motion and snapping, and we can see how far that snaps. Looks good, Control Z. I'm then going to hit Control D and duplicate this, and that would be the spacing between the tiles. I think that's pretty good spacing. Control Z, let's try something closer together like 0.85, and then slide that over. That is touching. Do we like it touching? I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, that is Control Z, 0.9. Maybe a little gap is actually a good thing. Just keep a little bit of space. Keep to yourself, just a little bit, not a lot bit, just a little bit. Okay, okay. Now we're gonna hit Control D again, and now we've got a 3-pack, nice. And then theoretically, I'm gonna take these two. I'm actually gonna delete this initial one, and then that way they're in the same area on the hierarchy. And then Control D, move this back. Now I'm gonna select all 3 of these, and then hit Control D again, and we're gonna slide that over here. And then we're going to do that one more time. And now we've got a nice line of 9. We can then select those 9, and we're going to just try to fill this whole area out. So we're going to start by doing this area, like the length of it. And I had a design idea in my head earlier on how I want this to look. So I'm going to try my best to make that happen. Oopsie daisy, don't do that. Control Z. There we go. And slide. Okay. So now that we've got that set up, it's not bad. The problem is we have to connect these next to each other. I'm kind of thinking I want to do another set to the left, but yeah, okay. We can always delete some later. Control D. Now some of you who've been in code blocks for a while and might be new to the MHCP might be wondering, what about the capacity meter? Like, this is going to use up so much simulation capacity. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of this I'm allowed to say, because it's such a brand new, like we've just in the last 48 hours been allowed to start talking about the tools. But I believe I should be able to say this. We no longer care about the capacity meter. We actually use the performance of the world. So we're checking the frame rate now. And at some point, I'm sure I'll make a tutorial on how we do that. But yeah, so we're going to be looking at performance over capacity. So that's exciting. Now the goal here is to get this to snap to the left. And I'm kind of wondering if I hit Control D, how bad this is going to look. Control D, I probably should have started with just 1. And then I need to slide it over by half. So we'll set this to 0.45. And then slide that this way. Ooh, don't love it, don't hate it. Try 0.1. And okay. We're feeling it. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that real nice. That's a real nice thing right there. That was a really nice thing right there. Okay. I'm gonna try this one more time. So we hit the stone group. But that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Maybe we just select the whole thing. We can do this. This is so hard to do. but is it? I'm making literally hundreds of these. This is kind of incredible. We'll hit Control D. At some point I'm going to break this. There's definitely a point where I built something similar to this recently, and I hit the limit for the number you can do. So we're absolutely going to be hitting that limit here soon. Slide to the left. I should have thought about that. We might need to make these tiles bigger. That's actually the solution. Oh my gosh, that was the same solution we ran into last time. I made these only 1 by 1 meter, and they should have been a lot bigger than that. But look at that, that looks good. Let's see, I don't know exactly how much I need to duplicate this, or set this. So let's set it to 0.9. Now, let's set it to 0.3 for now. We'll keep playing with it. Control D. Oh, I'm so excited. This is looking so fun. I can't wait to play this. Okay, so 0.3, I forgot to count how many that was. 0.1, and then we go back 1, 2. So what was that? Let's Control D, zoom in, count it. 1, 2, oh, it says right there. There's a number that tells you how far it is. Okay. That was 1.6. Okay, got it. So I need to set this to 1.6. There we go. And then Control D again. Come on. There we are. And then slide that over. Ooh, that's beautiful. Control D. Ay, ay, ay. We are getting pretty stuff here. I am going to have to scale this up at some point and delete the edges. So we're going to get to that sooner than later, but we'll just keep going for now. Until we break it. We go until we break it. We go until we break it. It still says updating in there, or duplicating. Yeah. Come on. You can do it. This is the last one, I promise. I won't do any more than this. This is it. Just do this one for me, okay? All right, checking chat. What are you guys saying? Jay Vanity asks, can I just use code blocks if I'm not ready for TypeScript? Abso-freaking-lutely. And if you want to take little baby steps into TypeScript, you really can. You just use one TypeScript script at a time. And you can even just take the scripts that I'm giving out every so often and use them in your world and keep using code blocks. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm so happy. I've had a hot cocoa today. That's more chocolate than I normally have. So I'm a little wired. People are like, what? One hot chocolate packet. I'm not even finished. Last sip here. Oh. So good. Okay. Okay, that did work. Okay, cool. I promised it I wasn't going to do another one. Oh, it didn't work. Yo! Joke's on me, I guess. Okay, so what we need to do is scale this to actually be the right size and then delete the ones that don't fit. And as we can see, there's an actual ton of these. So I will select the bottom one and then scrolling to the top. They literally just recently added this ability to select by using Shift. It's so nice. It is so nice. So scrolling up, I can find the bottom of that and then hit Shift, and we've selected all of them. We're then going to select the scale tool, and since we center these at 0, 0, we should be good to just scale them all up at the same time. So I'll grab the center scale, and there we go. Let's go up by 4x. So these should be 4 meters by 4 meters. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I want to preview this before I lock in. So I'm jumping down. Oh yeah, that is totally a good size. That's like, you can get 2 people on there and try to shove each other off a little bit. Yeah, totes. And if you have to run really far, okay, yeah, I'm feeling it. Cool. Head on back to the center one, command or click F on my keyboard. Ooh, mild little neck cramp there. So now I can select these out here just by doing that, and then just hit delete. Done. And then we'll do the same thing over here. I'm gonna speed up my flying. Looks like I missed some stuff, but I think that's... Did those really just not delete? No, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, it really didn't delete the groups. It deleted the insides. Peculiar. Hit delete. I don't know if there's any way I can select those. But I can find them because they're these empty ones. I'm sure there's a way that I can delete these later. I feel like that's a bug. So if somebody at Meta happens to be watching this, if you wouldn't mind working on that, I'd appreciate it. But no rush. You're all good. Y'all good. Y'all good. This isn't going to take too much time. And delete, selection. Let's go back over to here and go and delete all of these. Kind of wondering if there's a better way to do this, but because we're going to get all of those things again. Hit delete. Okay. Oh, yep, there they all are. So I guess we're just going to find these empties. Delete selection. And I can keep finding these empties, but there's got to be a way to use this. There's a filter section here. Looking for gizmo type, not an option. Properties is, nope, not that. I don't know. Oh, I wish I knew how to fix that. I guess you know what we're gonna do? We know the numbers, it's not too hard. We're just gonna start from just a ground 0 set and just duplicate that set. So we've got our first set here, and we're going to try deleting these 2 at the end. Let's see what's our next set here. Next set is over here. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to just try to get our base one and then delete selection. Control, delete selection, C, and then select all of these. I mean, this isn't too hard, but it is kind of just like, oh wait, that was a nice set. Delete selection. Here's another set. I can tell because it doesn't have that arrow to the left. That's how I'm able to see that. Delete selection, if that wasn't already clear. Ooh, but it looks like I'm missing a couple here and there. Ay. So I thought I was doing good, but I was actually missing some of these. Delete selection. Okay, we're gonna just do this as much as it pains me. Just do it. Just do it. Delete selection. Okay. I hate to do that, but that's got to be the right answer. And then what we're going to do is try to keep just the first two or first 4 rows. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. That looks good. So then if we select this, we can select this section right here. There it is. Delete selection. Nice. Okay. Somehow that's still here. Delete selection. And that one. And delete selection. Okay. And is there anything else in here that we need to delete? I think we cleaned it up nice. It does look super clean, so we should now be able to do the same 1.6 type thing we did. So we'll hit select these. And then this should be 4 times 1.6. So if I hit slide tool and then hit Control D, we should just have to move over by 1.6. 4 times, that is. Is that right? That does look right. I think that's right. Okay, then Control D again. Perfect. Control D again. And okay, there we have it. A nice selection of faceted cylinders. I do like the organic kind of rounded look, so I do want to go through and just like delete these ones. Although when I click on it, it's not selecting the group. That's kind of annoying. So it's leaving this little guy back. So I want to get rid of this one. Just going to take a moment here. Sorry, it's going to just take a sec to make this. I really want to have a nice little barrier on the edge of the lava. And I also want it to look kind of natural. So I'm going to do a little bit of, oopsie daisy. I forgot to do the button. There it is, and delete, and delete. Yeah, that looks good. We'll delete this one too. Maybe go in a little bit here. And, oh yeah, you could do some really crazy stuff. You really could. Delete. Just aesthetic choices right now. And delete. Okay, cool. And then need to round that out over here as well. Delete. These ones need to go. Okay. I thought about using asset spawning earlier and like spawning these all in so I could create different shapes. Decided against it, kind of wondering if it might have been faster because of this this painstaking process, but there we go. Okay, that's pretty nice. And then over here, got to do the same thing. All right, I do want to get rid of that edge, but I think I'm just going to ignore it for now and then just make this look a little better. Okay, cool. Maybe a little more. Might have to come back through this a bit later to make that a little less. I'm such a perfectionist. Like, it's got to look perfectly not perfect. Okay. And one more. Cool, so there we go, and these should all have the is static, if we look at the group, should have the is static set to false. And now what we can do is create some static ones, which is where we're going to build our lobby. So what I'm going to do is Control D this one, and then this is just going to be eyeballed. So I'm turning off snapping, no snapping required for this. We're just going to slide it into this position. I'm going to scale this until it fills this roughly. And so we're going to go to the scale tool and scale that to roughly the right size. And I want these the only ones I want to have cracks showing lava is the ones on the inside. And so I'm scaling this kind of like that till it looks about right. Then I'm going to grab my rotate tool, rotate that kind of naturally looking, and then that'll cut into some of these shapes. And I think that's okay. There was a part of me that did want, so let's make sure to set this to is static. So we'll turn on the static boolean on the group. Did I really? Oh gosh, I really did. That's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, so I went to duplicate this and I duplicated the item inside of it. That happens from time to time. Go ahead and hit Control D and try again. Okay, slide that over, and then we're gonna rename this so that these are called static. That way I can easily find them in the hierarchy. That'll be nice. And then we'll go to is static and turn that on. And then we're gonna do that scaling thing one more time. And then I had this idea in mind, and I want to try and play with it a little bit. So the idea was, let's start by scaling this up nicely and scale it up to be kind of tall like that's nice. Cool. And then I kind of don't want geometry below the world. So I'm going to slide these up and then probably rescale it a little bit. Nice. Okay, that should do the trick for this one. And so, as long as it's at the 0 point, yeah. So then what I wanted to do with these outside edges, kind of a thought I had to make this feel like it fit into the space better, was to scale these up. So if I select the outside of this, I was thinking of changing it to a static as well, and then changing the scale to be like, I don't know, let's go to 8, and then slide that up. And so that it has this look, and then maybe we'll change the scale of this one. Select, scale up a little bit, and then do the same sort of thing for the rest of these. Also, something we haven't tried yet, which is kind of a shame we haven't tried this yet, is we can actually hit play world and see all the various colors come in. Look at that. That's pretty neat. Wow, that looks pretty cool. That is really cool. And we can jump into preview mode to see it. Pretty nice, and you can imagine those moving around is going to look really cool. We jump into lava, and we're back. So very cool, and those look nice. That's fun. I like that look. It's very playful, and we'll go click F to focus, and then we've got these. This is also a static pillar, so I should add the word static at the beginning of this one too. So arrow static. Cool, cool, cool. And then I want to do the same thing to this one, and we'll go ahead and select this, and then going to copy the properties of this. So we're going to grab copy scale, and then paste scale onto this one, and then I'm going to go to this one here and select. Interesting, did I not scale this correctly? Oh, I must have done it wrong, did I? No, the scale is 8. Why did that not copy? Copy scale, select this one, select outside group, right click, paste scale. There it goes. Nice. Not sure why that didn't work the first time. And then I want to change this to be called static as well. There might have to save some of this to be done later, like offline, to create the full aesthetic, but you kind of get the idea. And then paste scale. Oh, and I forgot to change, oopsie, Control Z. Select the outside one, paste scale, change this to be a static, make sure to set it to be static down here, perfect. Okay, and then select this one, do the same thing, forgot to select, there we go. And so that's kind of an idea I was playing with, and then we could drag those around to kind of make it look a little more natural. Control Z, select the wrong thing. Control Z, what's going on? Control Z. Where did this one go? You just, it just unalived itself. Where are you? Dude! Oh, wait, I thought I saw it. No, I don't see it. So perplexing. Okay, stop world. Probably shouldn't have been running the world clear. And Control Z didn't work. When Control Z doesn't work, oh my gosh, what do you do? We have it right here, right? If I click F to focus, it exists, it's somewhere. I don't see it, but it says it's somewhere. Let's just, position looks fine. We're just gonna delete this. Delete selection. Head back to the other one, focus. Okay, and then theoretically, if I just turn snapping back on, hit Control D on this static one, and then snap that over, I might have to change it down to 0.1 again, and then get that until it's just right. That looks right, perfect. And now we can slide that up to make it look a little bit nicer, slide this one up a little bit. And so the idea is that these are like places people can hang out and while they're playing the game and such. Cool, cool. And then I do want to build some sort of like even bigger pillar like this on the outside. So you do like Control D and then slide this one over and then scale this one even higher to like 25 and then slide that one up. And so this like represents the background. I'll do like 15, 15. And so this is like the most outer ring. And so that's kind of like the idea for the outside of this. I'm probably going to come into VR later and build that. So you get the idea. And for now, we're going to move this spawn point for our lobby spawn point to over here. So if I right click the position, I can copy position. Then I can click on the spawn point, right click and paste. Normally that would work. Right click and copy position, right click and still not pasting. Okay, we'll eyeball it. So drag that over, drag that. Spawn point, come back to me. And then we're going to drag you up. And then don't really need to snap rotate. We can just freeform that a little bit. There we go, nice. And fantastic. Okay, and then the player, like the world spawn point, just for now, until I have time to like come into VR and really build out what I want this to be. And so like you can build in VR for those joining who have not seen Horizon Worlds before. And that's pretty cool. And it's a lot better for moving stuff around and like doing this type of stuff. And then we can change the camera to be first person or third person. I prefer first, so we'll go ahead and hit play, jump into preview mode. And here we spawn up here. We can then jump into the game. And then if we go and get in the lava, we get teleported back to the lobby, which is right here, and then the world spawn is up there. So for now, that's okay. And then there's also these little lower pillars, so you can kind of watch or practice your parkour, although those will need to be resized to be parkour friendly. All right, command or press F to focus. And then over here, there we go. Whew, I'm gonna breathe for a second and check the chat. There's a lot of design stuff. Can you play PvP Run in Horizon Worlds? I don't know what PvP Run is, but it is a PvP app, so I suspect you could build something like that, yeah? Okay, I have some almonds. These are my worst case scenario fuel. Okay. There's a lot still on my to-do list. Curious if anyone in the chat wants to see how you can make a skybox, like a custom skybox. Right now we're using the default, one of the defaults, and I think it's good enough. But if someone is interested, just ask, and we can look at that. I made one recently, so I should have the files hanging around. Recolor and texture faceted cylinder. Ah, we're going to do textures on the faceted cylinder. I'm not super texture hungry right now, but let's go see if we can find a simple one, because it isn't too difficult. So we'll go up here and search for tiling texture like rock. Let's see. I think Polyhaven's one of those free websites you can use. Something like this might look good. But you really want to keep it simple. This seaside rock looks nice. Let's go ahead and hit download. And we'll save that to downloads. And I've got a folder for today called November 23rd. Go ahead and click. Oh, it's a Blender. What in the world? That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting a PNG. 4K. Let's download it as a... sure, we'll download it as a 4K since it's going to be used across all of the faceted cylinders. Or maybe it's in that. I've not used this website before, so I guess we're going to just go ahead and see if I can't. Assets, jump into the Got a Lot of Lava asset pack, add new texture, choose file, go into downloads, go into November 23rd. I don't see it in there. Right click, open a new window, and then we'll go to November 23rd. There it is. Unpack that. There we go. And extract. Okay. And then back here, we can go into that seaside rock, textures. There it is. Okay. And open. Import. All right. So you can import any PNG and use it as a texture. And so normally I would reference these textures on the properties panel, but because there are so many of these that I've already set up, there's another way to get the texture asset ID. And so we're going to use that. And I've not done it but once, so you might have to bear with me as I remember how to do it. But basically we should be able to, once this is done processing, it shouldn't take too long. I'm going to go over here and then back. Oh, it's still going. Maybe because it's 4K. I don't usually bring in 4K. I usually bring in like 1024 by 1024. There it is. So up here we have the texture asset ID. I can hit copy that. And then we're going to go back into scripts. So let's actually create a new script for this, and we'll just call this textures underscore data. And this is assets, so it's texture assets underscore data. We'll then go ahead and click enter, and then 3 dots, open an external editor. And now that we have this data file, we can type export constant called texture assets underscore data space equals a JSON object. And in this JSON object, we can create a seaside rock. And then we can set it to be equal to, and I believe you type asset dot from. Oh, that's not it. Asset dot. I could swear that's how it was done. I might have to look this up. Where was the world that I did this in? I've only done this once. Where did I do that? Might have to look online. I know there's a tutorial on this. Probably shouldn't show the Learn website. I feel like that's under my NDA, so I'm going to put that in a different screen. Sorry. But there's a Learn website, and on this Learn website, once you're in MHCP, there's a search button here, and I'm just going to type asset or from texture asset, because I can swear that was what it's called. From texture nothing's coming up for from texture asset. Okay, let's search asset ID. Nothing. Asset ID, asset, search. Use assets from tutorials. Image from asset. Here they do image source dot. No, that's not it. Texture asset is, yeah, they just had it as a property. That's what I was gonna do. But there is another way of doing it. Okay, it's not in that example. Ooh, text as asset. Oh, you know what? It probably is texture asset dot. No? Ah, darn. Oh, you know what? There's another way to look through the API. If we go to the types over here, we can go to Horizon Core and then Command F and search for texture asset. And inside of texture asset, we can now find the 5 references to it. Scroll down. Dot set texture. There's setting of texture. Import mesh entity. And declare texture asset has a .to string. Maybe it's under asset. Asset. Or I could swear it was get texture, get asset. Search for asset ID. Ah, here we go. Spawn. No, it's definitely not related to spawning of assets. Search for ID. 234 things with ID. Oh, somebody in the chat. Image source dot from texture at. Nope, that's not it. Oh, new texture asset dot big int. Ah, thank you. New texture asset. Really? That's how you create it? That's not what I would have expected. Okay. Thank you, Mikey. That's where I used it. New texture asset, parentheses, and then we type in the big int, and then parentheses, and the asset ID goes inside of that. Okay, save that in my brain for later. New texture asset, parentheses, big int, then the ID. So theoretically, we can fill this with a bunch of different textures and use it anywhere in our world. So I'd usually put it on the properties panel, but this is another way of doing it when you've already got a bunch of stuff and you don't want to have to reference it using your fill references. Okay, so now what we can do is on our stone pillar, we can utilize this texture asset data, and we're going to say props dot mesh entity dot as parentheses mesh entity dot set texture parenthesis. And then we can do texture assets data dot seaside rock. And were there any other properties in there? Comma. Texture options. I don't think we're going to look at that right now. Semicolon, control save. Now we should have a texture applied to our default rock. Cool. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. There it goes. It's loading in. And I'm surprised it's taking so much time for each one to load it. I thought it would be a lot faster because they're all sharing the same texture. Huh. Curious. Might need to change it to like a 1K image, but it is nice to have a little bit of texture on there. It's very subtle, but I think it'll go a long way. These ones get a little bit skewed, a little bit stretched here. So that's not as ideal, but it's harder to notice, especially once the whole scene's put together and there's like the game mechanic and whatnot. So I think it's good. Thank you, Mikey. Appreciate you coming in with that. I just finished applying using Desktop Editor. Would be great. Fantastic. Great to have you here. And that's what we're doing. We're learning how to use the Desktop Editor, and feel free to come back and watch this from the beginning to get some of the basics that we shot at the beginning. I'm right-clicking and using WASD to move around. And we're building this little lava game right now, which is pretty cool. And so what we need to do next is make it so that these pillars start moving up and down. And we've done the coloring, we did the texturing, so I can mark that off on the to-do list. I didn't see anybody ask about the skybox, so I think we're good. Retro said, what about using GenAI? How does that work for TypeScript? Great question. Can you play PvP? Okay, we didn't have any more information about that. GenAI, I do not recommend using the GenAI TypeScript, especially if you don't understand TypeScript in the basics. I've had very mixed results. So, like, let's see. Create a respawn script that runs on a trigger gizmo and teleports to the world spawn point. Okay, let's see. Generate script. basically every time I've asked it this question, it has had some error that if you were a new person trying to figure that error out would not be easy, which is why I don't recommend it. I wouldn't use it. It's not going to save me any time. It's going to slow me down for sure. But I know somebody who's working on it, and so I'm hopeful that in the future it's going to be better. Okay, so they're using the import star, that's fine. Class respond trigger, fine. Props definition, there's no property, so I don't know where it's getting this respawn point from, because you have to put the property in the curly braces for the spawn point. It says connect code block event, this dot entity, okay, fine. hc.codeblock events, that's good. On player enter trigger, that's good. Player parameters coming through, arrow function. This is technically okay. The one that we built earlier where you actually bind it to a local method is much prettier and easier to read. Definitely don't recommend doing it this way. Now it's saying this entity is an audio gizmo and it's playing audio off of self, but it's a trigger gizmo. That makes no sense. Then it says this dot world get spawn point gizmo. That's not a thing. See, it hallucinates like really badly. And so unless you know everything about the Horizon TypeScript API, you're going to be like, oh yeah, why isn't that working? Why isn't world.getSpawnPointGizmo a thing? It's just not. At least I'm pretty sure it's not. Watch it actually is a thing. Let me double check because there's no way that's actually a thing. Like, that would be so ridiculous. Come on, open up TypeScript. Oh, I'm clicking the button too many times. One more. There it goes. Okay, this better not be a thing. You go world.get, there is no get spawn point gizmo. There's get server player. It's hallucinating, and it's like hallucinating in a bad way. So please do not use that until it gets better, especially if you're just learning. Just learn. Like, it's hard to learn. Trust me, it took me months to become even barely competent, and now I'm a year in and I'm feeling better, like pretty solid, but yeah, it takes a lot of work. And Gen AI is not just going to be the solution today, maybe in the future, but not today. The thing that I do recommend use Gen AI for is the audio. It creates really great audio. Seriously, this thing is fantastic for creating unique sound effects. I use it all the time. Okay. Checking back. Can you import your own skybox? Yes. Okay, that question's been asked, so I guess I can show that. That was on the to-do list. Mikey says, it looks like you downloaded the displaced texture. You probably want the diffuse texture to show the base color. I don't believe that will affect because I'm using set color. I'm changing the color of the thing right now. So there might be a, like, let's try it. Good question, Mikey. If we turn off the tinting of the mesh and hit Control Save, and then go back to Horizon and hit play, is that going to look more colored? Curious. Oh, I didn't wait for the console to. But yeah, there you go. You can see the colors coming in. So it definitely does have the gray color. It's still loading. That's so funny. But let's go back to script, uncomment that out, Control Save. Okay. And breathe. Okay, so we've got this set up and we wanted to look at bringing in a skybox. So I'm going to quickly show you how to bring in a skybox because I think it's a hot topic. And we're going to go and open up Blender real quick. All right, here's Blender. And now I'm going to remember how to do this. I just did this last Saturday for the first time, so bear with me. We click Add Mesh and we want a UV sphere. Once we have the UV sphere, we're going to tab into edit mode, right? And right click, and then you click the, what is it, I tool? I or N? Normals. You want to change the normals. You press the N key on your keyboard. No, that didn't work. Maybe it's in object mode? No, there's no way that's in object mode. No. Tab back to edit mode, and then right click. We want to remap the normals for the inside. I thought it was the N key. I don't know why N isn't working. So select all, press N. N doesn't work. Am I clicking the wrong key? Control N. Ah! By memory, I missed the control. Control N brings up your... but what did I do wrong? Control N. General. So maybe switch back to object mode. Control N. I really should stop teaching this. I'm learning, I promise, but not fast enough. And Control N brings up this for new file. Go back to edit mode like I thought, and then select all, and then, oopsie, Control Z, and Control N. I don't think it's Control N. Alt N. I'm going crazy. There it is. So you click Alt N. Good luck memorizing all of these things. I was like, where's the drop down? I prefer drop downs, I'm not even gonna lie. And then recalculate inside. Like, if you use the tool a lot, I like the shortcuts, but if you don't use the tool, this is hard. So we're gonna click recalculate inside. And now that we've recalculated inside, if we go to the, there's an arrow over here you can barely see. When you click this arrow, you can see backface culling is turned on. And with backface culling turned on, you can see that you're rendering the inside of the sphere, not the outside anymore. And then with that, we can go down to material, create a new material, and then we're just gonna name this Skybox. So we're just gonna type Skybox, and then click File, Export, FBX. And we're going to export this to our current folder, November 23rd. We're going to name this skybox.fbx. Okay, practice makes perfect. I'll do it right next time. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can go and create our texture. Don't save. And so we're going to go and open up a File Explorer window. There it goes. We're going to go down to Downloads, and I believe it was the November 16th. Here it is, Skybox BR. Control C. And then desktop, and so you have to name it skybox_br, and I have this image here that you can see that looks gorgeous, and then we're going to bring that in. It does have to be a PNG, so then we're going to go to our assets tab here, go to the got a lot of lava asset, add new 3D model, choose file. We're going to open up our downloads folder again, and then go to November 23rd and select Skybox and press open. Turn off this offset pivots, click import, and now we're importing our Skybox. That's how you do it. No worries, Mikey. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you knowing the exact reason it wasn't working. That's so, so sweet. That is done. We've got our Skybox, so let's go ahead and pull our Skybox into the world. It's going to be tiny because we didn't scale up the sphere, but we can just change the scale here to like, let's say 128, tab 128, tab 128, and now jump into preview mode, and we got this really, really cool skybox surrounding the world, and yeah, we can see that out here. I might want to lift it up a little bit. I think the distance might be too big, but for now we're going to leave it. I'm going to right click, unlink instance root. That's not really required. Press F to focus it. And then what we're going to do is slide it up a little bit so that it's more in view of the world. We'll then jump into preview mode. And now we can see from, oops, I'm in the wrong spot. Oh, and the world's not started. Start the world, jump into preview mode, jump off the ledge. This is what I wanted to show you. Now it looks pretty good. It's definitely, I think it's mixing with the background, which I actually kind of like. But the scale is definitely too big on it. So let's jump that scale down to like 80, 80, 80, and then jump back into preview mode and take a look at that. And so this is just a hacky way to get a nice skybox. I actually really like the way that looks. That's kind of nice. I believe the fog setting on our, there's a fog setting on our environment gizmo is causing it to be partially transparent, which isn't bad. So if we change this, well, I'm going to hit Control C in case we want to go back, but we'll hit 0 for now, and then jump into preview mode. And now we get this look, which might be more what you're going for. But I kind of really liked that foggy look. So let's go back to that, Control V, and jump into preview mode. So yeah, that's kind of nice. It's a little weird as you jump down and the horizon line's kind of shifting, but I might play with that later. Okay, let's switch back to focus on the world spawn point. And then I also want to lock the skybox so I don't accidentally move it later. So if I click on skybox, I can hit the lock key right there to lock it. There we go. Nice. Okay. Whew. Okay, dokie. So there's your skybox. Mikey says, can the skybox be unlit or BA or _UIO? It definitely can, and I probably should have. I'm still learning, because this is the second skybox I've ever brought in. That's probably not a bad idea. That's a tutorial for another day. We have some tutorials on that in the MHCP Learn website. Might be worth checking out. Turning off collidability, just leaving visibility on. Won't cast shadows. Okay, skybox done on the to-do list. Next up, we wanted to get these tiles moving up and down, and recolor and texture faceted cylinder. Recolor and texture faceted cylinder. Recolor and texture faceted cylinder. We did that. Okay, check that off the to-do list. Trigger respawn. We did that. Perlin noise motion over time. That's our current goal. Random base color. We haven't done that, but that would be a really cool thing to implement. Okay, so we're now going to, I'm going to put down there random base texture is another option that we can look into. Random base texture. Okie doke. And so the next thing we're going to look at is moving these up and down with Perlin noise. And so another way to learn, because I have not used Perlin noise, is Waffle has an amazing tool out. And if I go to the Horizon Hub website, Horizon Hub, I can see the equivalent of the, let's go, settings, non-horizon features, show equivalent in TypeScript. Okay, and so then if I say on update and then throw in I just want to debug print a random Perlin noise. I want to see how he's doing Perlin noise, because Perlin noise is not built into into TypeScript. So I'm curious how he has it being created here. Let's see, random number is where it should be. And where's random number? There it is, random 2D Perlin noise. Okay, so his 2D Perlin noise is not shown because this isn't wide enough. I will have to resize this. It will be out of your view. I guess I can slide that over. Ooh, can I? Can I slide that over? There we go. Okay, so Windows is being all mean with me, sorry. Playing fighty. Okay, so it says Perlin. Oh, what the heck is Perlin? Is this a file? Does that exist? Does Perlin noise exist in TypeScript? No, he's got a Waffle utils for it. Okay, so you have to use his Waffle utils for Perlin noise. So we won't be using Perlin noise because it's not built into VS Code, and I actually have not used Waffle's utils because I build my own utils. So at some point I guess I'll have to build my own thing. Kind of curious if he has, I'm going to close out of this now that I'm done. I'm kind of curious if what his thing is. I'll have to look at it sometime to see how he does Perlin noise. But you basically have to bring in a bunch of random numbers because Perlin noise is pseudo-random. It's not actually random. And what we want to do is create some sort of, we do really want some sort of Perlin noise-like thing. Let's try something real just off the cuff here. ChatGPT. Example of Perlin noise in TypeScript. Boom. Here's an example of how to generate Perlin noise in TypeScript. Okay, so Perlin noise, array from length 256, and then it's got math.random times 256. So it's creating a random noise, and then this dot p, this dot permutation, this dot permutation, and then fade, and then lerp. Man, this is way too complicated, and I don't know enough to correct it if there's mistakes in here. It probably doesn't have mistakes, but maybe it does. I don't know. This is pretty long. This is way harder than what I'd normally ask ChatGPT to do. Let's see. TypeScript, Perlin noise library, I think is what you call that. Somebody's got to have this somewhere. GitHub, a simplex noise generator written in TypeScript. Here we go. Okay, so we want, a noise generator. This project is forked from Simplex Noise, modified for easier integration. TypeScript projects originally ported from Java implementation of this one. TypeScript document install with that. TypeScript document reference. We'll open that in a new tab. Let's go into here and see if I can find. Looking for a .ts file is basically what I'm looking for. Index.ts, fix perm tables. Why do I not see more TS files in here? I don't really use GitHub, to be honest. There's no way this is actually what we need. Oh, maybe it is. Would you look at that? Okay, cool. We're just going to download this file. Download raw file. And we're going to save this into our November 23rd file. And we're just going to call this simplex noise.ts and save. And then show in Finder or show in Explorer. And we'll move this out of the way. Okay. Back over here in File Explorer, we have simplex noise, which I want to bring into, so I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it, and then I'm going to close out of this, back in Horizon, scripts drop down, 3 dots, open scripts folder in Explorer is also a way to open up the scripts folder. Double click into scripts, Control-V, and we have simplex noise. I'm going to rename this one more time, and I want it to be in Pascal case, so simplex noise. And this is a utility, so I'm going to name it utility simplex noise, and then it's got functions in it, theoretically, so underscore func, and then we'll open that up and make that work. So let me close out of this. Okay, so it exports a type called PRNG, a function returning a pseudo-random floating point number in the interval 0 to 1. So if you call PRNG, it's going to return a random pseudo-random number between 0 and 1. That's curious. Then we've got interface simplex noise and a lot of exports here that I didn't really want to have to use. I really just want the simple thing. Random PRNG colon simplex noise. So 2D noise has an X and a Y. 3D noise has an X, Y, and Z. You can even do fourth dimensional noise. Very nice. X, Y, Z, W. Cool. We really just need 2D noise for this today, so we're going to focus on using 2D noise. Simplex noise equals random, so you need your number, and then table, build permission, return noise 2D. So it's going to return PRNG. Really? No, it returns simplex noise. It returns this like bag of stuff, basically, and this is going to actually do the function. So I think really all we need is this, make simplex noise. I don't really want to export anything else, so I'm turning off, well, I guess we need simplex noise. Well, we don't really, we might. I don't know what PRNG is. That's the number that goes in? Curious. Okay, let's read this. Make simplex noise takes, it's a function, right? Equals function that returns simplex noise, which has this. This is not how I'd normally write something of my own. I would write something, and I think it's okay to modify this. I'd write this as export function, and then parentheses, and then you're taking a number, right? You're taking a number parameter, and then you're returning a simplex noise. Now it doesn't like this because it's supposed to receive PRNG. And PRNG really is just a number, isn't it? I don't understand that too much. Let's just remove this whole thing from existence. I'm just gonna comment that out, // and then wherever PRNG was, which should be down here in red, we're just gonna change that with a number. I think those are the only two places it's being used. So we should be okay to do this. Am I about to break it? Maybe. Yeah, okay, it does break it. So it needs a way to call math.random. Ah, it's trying to figure out how to call math.random. Why would you need to call math.random? But it needs it to be pseudo-random. Okay, Control-Z. Control-Z. I'll bring back your PRNG. I don't understand how to use that. And then taking a PRNG, we have to delete this. There we go. So now it's happy. So I can use this function, like I normally would. Simple enough. Now, is this being used anywhere else? MK simplex. It doesn't appear to be. I'm pretty sure I call this and I have to pass in this random. A function returning a pseudo-random floating point number in the interval of 0 and 1. Why do I have to provide you that to utilize this? Or maybe I don't have to provide you that to utilize this? I don't actually understand. Because it's not using this make simplex noise. Constant noise 2D. I need this one, don't I? Let me control Z a few lines back, because I don't think I actually need this. I must be missing something. Let's see. Nobody in the chat. Jonathan Vestola says, how to do an example in pseudocode, then translate it to TypeScript usually makes it more readable. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I just prefer not to use ChatGPT in this case. This is a pretty common thing out there, so it feels like this should be. We just need noise 2D, which takes some tables. So tables is coming in from somewhere. Math. Oh, this builds the tables. A PRNG function like math.random. Okay, so we can just call math.random. Got it. When it says pseudo-random, I thought it meant more like a Perlin noise, and I was confused, but it means... I think of math.random as being really random, but people on the real, like, really random are like, it's not really random. So we're actually going to reverse this. Control-Shift-Z, go back to what I had, because I liked it. And then we're going to change this back to... we're just going to delete it. We're just going to delete it. We're going to completely delete it. Simple as that. We need to call this on world start so that this needs to run at some point. Which is probably why it's calling constant. Right? What is happening here? Perplexing. No, we need to build the tables at some point. So maybe this is the problem. We need to move this outside of the function and do this. Yeah, just do that there. Delete this whole PRNG type. Control-Z, let's comment it out. Control/ to comment. And then Control/ again to uncomment. Thanks, Mikey. So build permutation tables is going to call down here, and it needs this random, but really all it actually needs is math.random, so you can just type math.random. So for whatever reason, they made that an option that you could change it out with whatever you wanted. So this is going to build the permutation tables. In this case, because I don't care about seed numbers, this seems acceptable. Did I forget to delete the parameter? It returns a perm tables. Why is this unhappy up here? Tell me why you're unhappy. Block scoped variable build permutation tables used before it's... Oh, is this in a class? Oh, no. Constant tables used before its declaration. What are you talking about? Build permutation table is declared here. Value build permutation. Because it's a constant. For whatever reason, they're using constants. I would use functions, because functions don't have this limitation. You can just type function, build permutation tables, parentheses, and then returns that type. Done. Same thing. Same thing. Okay. I think we are done building this thing, and now all we really need to do is call make simplex noise on world start. No, we don't need to call make simplex noise because the make simplex noise is happening up here. We need to get simplex noise. Get noise. Simplex noise. Okay. And that's going to return a simplex noise, which I'm going to call a type. I don't use interfaces, I use types. And so... Oh, curious. I see what it's doing there. I see what you're doing there. I do see it. I don't love it. I do see it. Control-Z. Control... Da, 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 da. So you get simplex noise, which gives you a interface that you can use to create. So what I really want to do then is one last step in here. And I don't want to export any of this stuff. I literally don't want, this stuff, exports make things complicated. What I actually want is just one thing here at the top that makes it easy to integrate with this. So I'm going to say export constant, which is going to be called simplex noise utils underscore function, which equals, and then we just call get simplex noise, and then parentheses. And now if I hover over this, this allows us, whenever you call simplex noise util functions, which I probably should just call simplex noise to be simpler, like to make it simpler. So we're going to export simplex noise, which if you call simplex noise dot noise 2D or dot noise 3D, you're going to get the 3D stuff. Control save. Okay, done. Okay, if you wanted to do this with like, that's a whole nother topic. If you wanted to make this something that used like traditional Perlin noise that was more like you could use it over and over and over again, you'd have to build this permutation table and then save it, which isn't terribly hard to do. And I believe that's how Waffles works. Good job, Waffle. Because tables is whatever this perm tables is. And maybe we should just, right after we build this, we can do console.log parentheses json.stringify parentheses, and then we're going to stringify tables, and that should allow us to copy paste it from the console and have like proper Perlin noise, where you can utilize it over and over again to get the same values. Okay, so now to make this actually do something, we actually need to call it at some point. So here on Stone Pillar, we're just going to just write some janky code right here. We're going to say this dot entity dot position dot set to this dot entity dot position dot get parentheses dot add parentheses new vec3 parentheses 0 comma 1 comma 0, and then we're going to take our Perlin noise, we'll actually set this to 5, and then multiply that by the Perlin noise value. So now if we call simplex noise dot noise 2D parentheses, and now we're going to pass in, we need to know the position, so let's create this out here. We're going to say constant my position equals, and then we're going to copy this right here, Control X, Control V, semicolon, and then we're going to type in my position. And there's a lot of things to make Perlin noise do what you want it to do, so this is super jank, not really going to work, but we're going to type my position dot X comma my position dot Z, and that's going to return a random number between 0 and 1, I want to say. I think. I don't know. I haven't read the code. We'll have to experiment with it some more. And that will also, at the same time, console log, which is a technical thing that we're not going to get into too crazy right now. So recompile all scripts. Compiling? Why aren't you compiling? Cannot find name. Why aren't you compiling? There's no errors over here. There must be something I'm missing in this code. What are the blue lines, I wonder? Oh, those are just text misspellings. Okay, what are we upset about here? The script hasn't compiled, try compiling it. The script cannot be compiled due to errors with dependencies on simplex noise. Simplex noise says cannot find name int 8. Okay, so there's some sort of value it's using to make this that doesn't exist in our version of TypeScript, but does exist in TypeScript's understanding, or VS Code's understanding of TypeScript. So I need to find command find int. We're looking for something like int 8. Where is it using this? Here it is. Perm tables is a unit int 8 array, which according to this is an 8-bit unsigned integer value. The contents are initialized to 0. If the requested number of bytes could not be allocated, then an exception is raised. Can I just change this to number? and it be okay? You okay with that? You okay with that? I hope so. Is this gonna break a bunch of stuff? It sure looks like it did. It sure does look like it did. Oh, yeah, I have no idea how to replace that with something else. Control Z, Control Z. Let's go ask our good friend ChatGPT something simple. Okay. ChatGPT. I could have literally just downloaded Waffle's utility for this. What the heck is wrong with me? My version of TypeScript doesn't have access to uint8 array. How can I adjust the following code? Okay. If it's not available in your version of TypeScript, you can replace it with a regular array initialized with zeros. Oh. Well. Well, that's easy. Array of 512 length dot fill with 0. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Did somebody already say that in the chat? Steven, welcome. Hey y'all, sorry if this is a repeat question. I just got here. Does this have something different than visual scripting? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they have a saved permutation table I can just copy? Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Jonathan. And you're welcome to the Skybox tutorial. Super happy to get to cover that. Oh, why don't we just do that? Like, oh, you're so right. Okay, where is the saved permutation table? Build docs, package, type doc. I probably should read the README. Installation, TypeScript doc API. Function make simplex noise. Initialize a new simplex noise generator using the provided PRNG, random PRNG, math.random, yep. Simplex noise, we need a table. PRNG, do you have it? No, you do not. That is not here. Okay, so that did not help us. Back. Okay, we had that open over here too. One of these probably has our table in it. Don't see it. Package, nope. Docs. Ooh, is one of these it? No, I was hopeful. Index HTML, no. No. Types, interfaces, functions, simplex noise, assets. We're inside the API web page. That's what we were just looking at. Okay. Like I said, I don't use GitHub, so apologies for a little bit of naivety here. Darn, I cannot find it. In Waffles. Oh, got it. I got it. Understood. I see what you're saying. Yes. So we're not going to do that though, which is dumb. I know, but I think it's valuable to know how to make it on your own. So we're going to do the same thing it says here, which is just new array 512 filled with zeros. So go ahead and minimize that, and then we're going to say new array of 512 dot fill with 0. That's pretty easy. We can easily copy that. Control C, Control V, and then dot fill with 0, Control C, Control V, Control V. Cool. And then up here, we can change this to be of type number and of type number. We should be good on that front as well. Now it still has an error here. It says any is not assignable to type number. So we need to say that the perm is of type number array. There it goes. Is that happy now? Control C, Control V. Why are you still unhappy? Type number is not assignable to type number. It Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, or maybe ChatGPT is misunderstanding it. Control Z, Control Z. Perm model, it has perm 255. Return perm and equals V. So it looks like it's written in kind of like, I almost think this is written in originally in JavaScript, which is TypeScript's a superset. And so I think it might be trying to overwrite the original value. So perm equals this, which equals v mod 12. Curious. I don't fully understand what's happening on these lines. It seems strange. It's setting this to be equal to this, and then it's setting this to be equal to this. Let's see. So v equals 255. And then we're setting this one to be equal to v. So can I just return v and then return v mod 12? Am I crazy? That seems like it's the same thing. Doesn't like that. Parentheses. V is upset. Oh, because v is more than just. Oh, temp is something else. Control Z. Okay. Control Shift Z. Let me ask ChatGPT one more time. Control C. How do I fix the return types? They're supposed to be numbers. That's the question. How do I fix the return types? They are supposed to be numbers, Control V. Okay. All right, another sip of tea while it takes its thought. The current implementation is mostly correct for using number arrays, but your return type perm tables need to be defined to include perm and perm mod 12 as arrays of numbers. Ah, so the return is not accepting it as an array. Okay, so problem is that it's expecting the wrong return types. Okay, so you're saying perm tables is, oh, because I wrote number, but it was supposed to be number array. Ah, because I didn't understand what that, I didn't really read it. Okay, cool. Fixed it, done. My dummy head, I'm so sorry. Control save. Okie doke. That is what learning looks like. It's painful, but you get there in the end. Still not compiled. What are you upset about now? We don't have access to float 32 array. Okay, this is basically the same problem, but for float 32s, which we can fix as well. So we're going to Command F, find float. There it is, float 32 array. We know that this is actually just going to be equal to a square bracket array. Let's go find square brackets. Square brackets? Why am I losing that? Okay, so, and then we want to make sure to declare what this is. So we say new array. I don't think we need to type new. I think we just remove the parentheses. I think we just literally do that. And then do that. So we've got this array, which is filled with values, just tons and tons of comma separated values. And then I say colon is a number array. Now it's happy. And then we should have one more float 32 hanging around here. Here it is. So we'll do the same thing here, backspace. Change this to be a number array. And then change this to be that. Okay, and there's one more float 32 hanging around. Nope, it's not real. Control save, we're done. Get me out of here. Just let it work. I will use this utility in so many worlds when we're done with it. I can't believe I've never made this in the last year. I use Perlin noise so often in code blocks, but I haven't even touched it here. Okay, hit play. Oh, baby, ain't that something? Ain't that something? Oh, that is all the hard work paying off. Oh, it's beautiful. I could cry. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Oh, man. Okay. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh, I just can't believe it finally got there. Focus. There we go. This is great. So, next up, theoretically, all this loading of assets should be done on world start. So when players arrive, it should be mostly done or finishing very quickly. So I'm not too worried about that. Console. Here we have our created table. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. We can then utilize this random noise table here. And we can do that by going down here and clicking copy. This is our perm. So now we're going to go back into VS Code and paste it, so that way we don't have to generate random numbers. We can use the same initial generation from this point forward. And so here we have noise 3D. Where do we define? I think we defined it at the top, right? So we said tables equals build perm tables. So now if I say this is of type perm tables, and then I don't build the perm tables, and I instead go and type, let's delete this line of code. We don't need to console log it anymore. I'm going to create some space here. And then we're going to delete this. We're not going to run this function. We'll leave it inside the script for later. We're then going to hit Control V. There it is. Okay, now we're going to delete all the code we don't need, which is most of this. So backspace all of that, backspace again, backspace, backspace. Ah, it has it wrapped in a JSON object. I don't know if it is though. We can delete this. And then perm tables, I need to go find out the perm tables is, where is that defined? Where is perm tables defined? Okay, interface perm tables is an array of numbers and an array of numbers. So it's two things. You have the perm and the perm. Okay, so it is a JSON object. So I should not have deleted that. Control Z, there we go. So we have perm, which we don't need to describe like that. We can just do that. And then let's break this into multiple lines. So enter, so that's on the first line. And then there should be a second one in here. And I'm imagining it's midway, there it is. And then we'll click enter. And then we'll remove the quotes around it. There we go. And space, and let's go to the end of that line and then separate that onto its own line. I think I've deleted the curly brace on accident. Click enter. Nope, I did not. Control Z. I didn't go far enough. Or, oh no, this one's just way shorter. Got it. There it is. We'll arrow to the left, click enter. There we go, Control save. Okay, so there's our perm tables. They are static, which means every single time it's going to generate the same thing. So if we had hit reset, 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 this would have generated over and over and over again differently every single time. But this time, it's going to generate the same every time I hit play. If I hit stop, so that was different. But now it's the same over and over again. We'll do that one more time for clarity. Boom, there we go. So that is the benefit of Perl and noise, is you have reliable, random, pseudo-random results. So pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Is this Metaspatial Editor for Windows? I don't know what that is. This is the Horizon Worlds Desktop Editor, which is by Meta, so slightly. Jonathan, I'm apologizing because I don't understand what make sure you change temps type as well. Let me know if I need to change anything, but I think I'm good. Everything seems right. I'll take another handful of these lovely almonds. Okay. I'm going to keep chewing for a second. I'm so sorry. This is my protein to keep me running. Okay. Now that we can generate a Perl and noise, we can now move with Perl and noise over time. So let's go back to our scripts. We had the stone pillar, open external editor. And we were just using a really basic Perl and noise here, but let's create a function for this called, or a method, which is going to be called move to next position. And this is a really simple thing. And so we're going to move this motion down into here. And then what we're going to do is create a loop. And so we're going to call async dot set interval, which is going to create a looping method. And then in parentheses, what do we want to loop? We want to loop the move to next position. So we say dot bind parentheses this. And we want to do this once per, I don't know, 500 milliseconds. That's probably too frequent. Let's do it every 5 seconds. We'll keep it nice and slow for now. We can change that later. Okay? And now what we need to do is create some sort of counter, which we're just going to for now call I. And we're going to say const or let I equal 0. And we don't use let because we're inside of a class. There we go. So just I equals 0. And now we need to determine my position inside of move to next position. So I'm using Alt arrow to move it down. And then I can do that with space as well. And now that we have this set up, at the very end of this line, we want to call I++, which is going to increment I to the next value. So it's going to say I isn't 1 higher, which we call this dot I. And then the next thing we want to do is utilize I in our Perlin noise. And so right here where we have X, I'm going to say plus I, so this dot I, multiplied by 0.01. And actually, let's increase the speed here to half a second, so 500 milliseconds. We're then going to move this into parentheses, and we're going to consider that this is repeat for Z. We're going to move in a diagonal through space, so we'll say constant I offset equals Control V, and then we can then add I offset, and then we'll just copy paste that for the Z value as well, and paste, Control save. And now what we should have happen is this should move twice per second, but it's not moving smoothly over time. I'll show you that in just a sec. Excuse me. Okay, minimize, clear, and play. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. That would happen. Stop. I forgot about that. That is so funny. I totally forgot about that. The original one was just to like get started. I totally forgot about that. Oh my goodness gracious, that's so silly of me. Let's create a value in here called starting position, which is going to be equal to a vec3.0, so an empty vector for now. And then on world start, we're going to set my position, and we'll set it right here and there. And then this is going to be start position, Control C. So we'll delete this and type start position and make sure it's this dot start position, and then start position equals, oops, I didn't mean a minus there. And then so start position is this dot into dot position dot get. We can then use start position, so I'm going to copy that right there in place of my position. And so we add to the start position with the value of 5 plus or multiplied by our Perlin noise value. Okay, Control save. That should be right, because now it's not changing dynamically. Now this is position. I actually wanted to use scale, but ooh, I think that was a mistake. Like that was an accident. We'll just change scale now. Let's just set it to scale, and then set Control save. Now this is gonna look. You won't see the lava like you do until we later move the lava up and like slowly rise the lava. But let's go and see what this looks like now. Clear and play. Ay. Well, I forgot one thing, which is that the default value for these is 0.396, or 3.96, excuse me. And I had it in here as 0, my bad, because that was affecting the position. Because we're moving to the start position. That's what it was. We needed the start scale. So let's duplicate this as well and call this one start scale. And then we're going to grab Control C, Control V, change this to start scale, change this to this dot entity dot scale dot get, and then we're going to start with the start scale dot add new vector where we don't change the scale of that value, we're only changing the scale of that value. And we also don't want this to go below 0. We don't want it to invert. So we should make sure that this multiplying is never negative. And I think it is negative. I believe our simplex noise is returning something between -1 and +1 is my guess. And so if we assume that that's the case, we can then put parentheses and then grab math.abs to get the absolute value. That should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. It's not perfect, but it should be okay. We could also use math.floor, or excuse me, math.max. Yeah, math.max, and then if we set the minimum using maximum to 0, that means it can't go below 0. And I actually want it to be able to get smaller than that, so let's set it to -0.9, because I believe the start, oh no, the start scale is 0.39 or 3.96, right? So -4? So it can't go below 3.9. So it can, yeah, that'll be okay. Okay, so that's the lowest it can go. Okie dokie. Let's give that a shot. I do everything right? I think so. I think so. Yep. Clear and play. All right. It's a little choppy because we haven't made it smooth animation yet. And I forgot to use our Boolean. Let's go change our properties a little bit. And let's make it smooth. This is coming along. It's coming along. It's not perfect, but it's coming along nicely. We're going to change this to move faster, like 0.2, so a little more motion. We're going to make it move over time by saying overtime dot scale to, dot start a scale to, and then parentheses. And we're going to, what is it? It needs the entity first, so we're scaling this dot entity. The value we're scaling it to is this, so let's say new constant called scale 2 equals, and then we'll grab this math formula here, and Control X, Control V, semicolon, nice. All right, we don't need this setting of scale 2 anymore. We can now pass in the property of scale 2, and then the next value is the duration, which we're going to create a variable for that up here called update time, update speed milliseconds equals 500. We can then use that here. So this dot update speed milliseconds, and then up here we can pass that in as well, update speed milliseconds, perfect. All right, so that's going to start the motion or the scaling, and it's going to make it smooth. We've scaled to here nicely, and then the only other problem was that we didn't use this is static, and so what we need to do is say if parentheses is, so that's props dot is static. I'm going to add an exclamation point to say if it's not static, and then curly braces. We can move these 3 values up, so we only do any of this if we are not static, so we're moving. And that should not affect our static items. And let's see, move to next position, Control save. I think that's it. Go ahead and hit minimize. Wait for that to compile. There it goes. Clear. Check in the chat. Welcome in everyone who's joined us. It works fine, but it was bugging me. You missed the 3rd one in the build perm table. Sorry. I'm sorry. It does seem to be working. I don't know why. Thanks for all the great guidance links. Thank you, Token King. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Clear, and let's go and focus on one of our stone pillars. There we are. And let's play and jump into preview mode. All right. Here we are. So now you've got this. This is exactly what I was looking for. You get these pillars going up and down, and they're moving at a pretty decent speed. They're lightly random. The purling noise actually worked out pretty decent right off the bat, which is surprising. You can parkour around a little bit. Pretty easy to walk around on mobile. or desktop even. Ooh. And then the low points, we're going to have the lava rise up over time. So it's going to slowly increase. And then I want to do a sudden death at the end where the outside edges like go away. And so you have to move towards the center near the end of the game. And yeah, so let's go jump in the lava, see what that's like. The lava's not rising enough for us to get killed by it, so I have to go to the edge. Ah, there we go. And then we're back here to the viewing area and we can see the whole thing. Ah, what a payoff in the end. There's a lot of work there, but that was a good payoff. If somebody wants this purling noise, you're welcome to have it, but you can also go get waffles. I just wanted to learn how to do it on my own. Like I can totally see that that's not for everyone, but I'm so glad I did. Like that was cool. I didn't learn a ton, but got it working, which is pretty cool. Okie doke. Next up, let's make the lava rise. That is the next step. So we have our lava script already. It's right here. Lava trigger respawn entity. No, that's for the trigger. We don't actually have a lava script. So let's go ahead and create lava group underscore entity. There we go. Open an external editor. And then here, we're going to do the same thing we did before, deleting the HZ dots. This is just a personal preference of mine. We'll then backspace the T, click enter, and now we've got our lava group entity set up. We now want it to rise over time, and for now, we're going to need to reset it somehow, and I don't have a way to do that yet, but we're just going to create something simple. So on world start, we're going to type overtime.moveTo.start, and then we're going to move to, and this is this.entity, and we're going to move it to this.entity.position.get, and then that's going to get our position, and then we're going to add to that position with a new vec3 with values 0, comma, we'll go up by 5 meters, maybe 6 meters even, and then comma 0. And then we're going to do this over time, and the time on this is going to be 60 seconds. We'll try 90 seconds, see what that's like. Semicolon at the end, control save, and ideally after this 90 seconds we want to reset, and we want to like award players and then start the game over. For now though, this is just to get it demonstrated. All right, now that we got this set up, we'll go ahead and click clear and play, and jump into preview mode. And now we can see this moving over time, and so we should start seeing the lava peeking through here on the bottommost ones. I don't see it yet, but maybe? Might have to go to the edge to really see the lava rising. But I think it's good that there's this like period of time where there is less scariness. That's getting close. Come on, lava. Oh, I don't want to be in the lava. Get me out of here. But let's see, is the lava rise? Oh no, I fell in! Okay. Do we see anything popping out over here? Not yet. It should be right. Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. I hate, this happens to me so often. If this happens to you, I'm sure you relate. I forgot to attach the script. So scrolling up to the lava group, scrolling down to the bottom, and then attach the lava group. I just expect it to attach itself. I don't know why I expect that, but for some reason, okay, hitting play. Jumping into preview mode. What an embarrassment. Okay, so now the Oi. Hello. Let's get back up there. Whoa. Is this guy not centered? Dude is totally off center. I didn't realize that. There we go. Happy days. Okay. Yo, where did all the... Lava, why you go so high? Lava, why you go so high? Oh, I know what happened. Another like simple dumb mistake. I did set it to 90 seconds, but it was in milliseconds. So I need to add 1, 2, 3, control save, so that it actually takes milliseconds, not seconds. So that it actually takes seconds, not milliseconds, because it was happening in 0.1 seconds. Rather than taking 90 seconds. Anyway, easy mistake, fixed it, clear, play, jump into preview mode. Now let's see that lava rise. Oh, it's already working. Oh, it's already working. Okay, sick. Let's get in there. Don't die now. Oh my gosh, wait, is that rising? Is that 90 seconds? This does not feel like a 90-second level. It is going way too fast. Okay. Oh, and I'm dead. Darn. All right. You can get back in. So that's the idea behind the game, is that you can keep playing even if you die early. You can still get back in until sudden death, which is where I want to... Oh boy, where am I going? Where am I going? I guess I'm staying over here. This guy seems... No, you are not strong? Okay, give me somewhere else. No! Yeah, see that? Done. Game built. And that's it, right? Like, last person standing. Oh my gosh. That is so fun. That is so fun. Okie doke. Let me check my to-do list here. Perlin noise motion over time. Done. Walk around top wall. Not done. Progressively higher and layer faceted cylinder. No, we haven't done that yet. JSON PPV leaderboard. Center is last. Okay. Random base color. There's a lot of like things to do, but I think I'm gonna end here. I feel like we've made some great progress. I would love to show this again. So in the chat, let me know if you'd like to do this again. And if you're watching this in the future, comment that you like this. I'm leaving probably tonight or tomorrow for Thanksgiving, going to see family. We're driving, so we can play it by ear. We're trying to book our hotel literally right now. But the point is, I don't know when I'm going to do the next part, but I would love to do a part 2 of this. And if you like what you're seeing, please let me know. Because yeah, this has been a blast. I'm sorry there were some tangents there of things I didn't know, like the Perlin noise and the 3D modeling at the beginning. Although it seems like Cray really enjoyed it. And I hope y'all did too. Enjoy seeing me humiliate myself. But that's one of the things I think is really important to think about as you join the MHCP, as you're getting started with these new tools, is that we all specialize. I'm gonna go to the real me camera. There you go. Hi! We all have specialties, and my specialty is in the coding side of things. That's where I've been really focusing in on. And so that's my corner. That's my closet. Debating what that meant, but anyway, the point is, focus on the things you enjoy most, genuinely, and try to find people you can collaborate with. And when you join the MHCP, it might be hard to find collaborators, but do your best to find a good collaborator. And yeah, so I promised somebody earlier that I was gonna show them, because they were like, whoa, you can code in here? And I really want to show you some of the advanced stuff. So this is what we're like 3 hours in. We're doing really good. For 3 hours in, we've got a pretty fun game, I think, right off the bat. If we go back here, I've got a game that I built. It took me over a month of scripting, and it's a partnership with AshXO. So she did art, I did coding, and it's called Power Wash. It's a lot of fun. You can check it out. It's a fun mobile and VR game in Horizon Worlds. And the thing that's so cool about it is there's a lot of custom UI. And I really wanted to get to custom UI today, but I can kind of feel the fog. I'm at that 3 hour mark where you start, like I was making a couple dumb mistakes there at the end. But I'd love to, and potentially our next or our third, I don't know how many this series will be, but we'll see. But I would love to show you some of like how I build these custom UIs and how to use these in your world. So we've got like this one here where you have instructions and it's got pages and you can cycle back through the pages. It comes a little faster once the image is downloaded. And then we've got other custom UIs like this instruction UI on how to click. We've got these color picking UIs over here where you can set the color of your device and that changes your color over here. And then we got like places you can buy upgrades, a multi-page UI where you can like have multiple pages, which is pretty neat. Little like stats user interface. You can even change to third person if you wanted to, and then change back to first person, although I'm not in love with the way that works. I'm gonna have to keep thinking about it. But and then there's lots of things to talk about, you guys. So anywho, would love to show you more about how we built some of this cool stuff. And yeah, this is just a simple like cleaning game, clean the car, very fun, simple mechanic. But anywho, yeah, okay, thanks so much for joining this Oh, I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen. I'm such an idiot. I will do that one more time. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so we jump in, we go over, we've got our instructions user interface over here. We got back and next buttons. So this is a custom user interface. I'd love to show you how to make that. Then over here, we've got our color picker. And then under the color picker, you can change the color, and that changes it in the game. And then over here, we have a multi-page user interface, so you can actually like go to different pages, cycle through things. So that's pretty cool. Upgrades, stats, you can change to third person using that little button in the top right, and that's pretty cool. Like I said, I didn't love that. And then you can also like, you see the loading bar up there is kind of cool. And then that loading bar is built with a text gizmo, actually. And then you just clean the car like that, and it's a lot of fun. So, all right. I guess until next time, y'all. This has been a blast. And thank you so much for tuning in to this. And I will see you potentially next week for another episode if y'all give me lots of votes that you like this and want more. So thanks again, guys. I will see you in Horizon. Bye.